Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if neglected Naruto Kage level after training trip harem. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Brady10 and link in the description and support writer. Let's start the video. Banishment. He was now staring down the village that was the cost of his suffering, the very same village that would decide his fate. As he stood before this people he couldn't help but remember the situation which led to this predicament. Flashback. As the waterfall continued to fall in the middle of the Valley of End, two people were staring down each other. The first person had blonde hair, whisker mark in each side of his cheeks, an orange jumpsuit on, and something else different than his usual appearance. Red violent chakra cloak that resembles fox with one tail. As a result, his whisker mark became more defined, his teeth fang-like, and his cerulean blue eyes, now red with silted pupils. He was the vessel of the Kyuubi no Kitsune, Uzumaki Naruto. The second person had raven-colored hair, red eyes with three tomos in the irises, a blue shirt with white short pants on, and something else different than his usual appearance as well. Cursed seal elevated to level 2. As a result, his skin became dark gray, his hair, longer, his nose, marked by a dark star-shaped mark on its bridge, and his back, winged with hand-shaped appendages. He was the last of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Sasuke. Both of them had been fighting for quite some time. It was very evident in their battlefield had been ruined since they started their battle, and also in their scars and injuries on both of their bodies. Both were at their limit, down to their last attack. Enough is enough. Come on Sasuke, let's go back. You have nothing else to prove, said Naruto. No, can't you see? I need the power to kill him. In order to get that power, I have to kill you, my best friend, the only person that I have formed a bond. Now I will break that bond by killing you, Naruto, said Sasuke. You can gain that power in Konoha with our friends. You don't need to go to Orochimaru, said Naruto, ignoring what Sasuke said about killing him. After hearing what Naruto said, he started to laugh menacingly. You don't understand the power I need, the power I want isn't in Konoha. I can only have that power by killing you and by going to Orochimaru, said Sasuke between his laughs. Before Naruto could think of a response, he saw Sasuke doing familiar set of hand seals. After realizing that the only way to bring back Sasuke was by force, he quickly charged his right palm for his signature jutsu. So it has to come to this, Naruto whispered with sadness in his voice. Time to die dope. Sasuke shouted. Then both of them charged holding powerful orbs of energy in the palm of their hands. Chidori, Rasengan. As the two powerful jutsu about to clash, Naruto was thinking of another way to end this battle. What the hell am I to do? I promise Sakura-chan that I'll bring the team back alive, but if this continues, I don't even want to think of what's going to happen. There has got to be another way, but what? Those were the thoughts of Naruto. Then suddenly he thought of a crazy way to end the fight and lessen the chance of them dying. I hope this works. If not, well, let's just say at least this will end painlessly. As the two jutsu were about to hit one another, Naruto dispelled the Rasengan. He shifted his body in midair to avoid the Chidori. He then sent a swift kick towards the chin of Sasuke, propelling him upwards. Then, making two shadow clones, he used both clones to give him the right leverage to propel himself upwards as well. As Sasuke headed downwards, Naruto grabbed Sasuke's head and slammed it to the ground below, making Sasuke spit out some blood. Then just to make sure that Sasuke stayed down, Naruto choked him till the mark of the curse seal disappeared and he lost consciousness. As he laid his eyes to his now unconscious teammate, the red chakra started to disappear. His face was starting to turn back to normal, and as he blinked, his eyes turned back to cerulean blue. Then, gathering his last remaining energy in his body, he grabbed the body of his best friend and struggled as he dragged it back to Konoha. He limped his way out of the valley, determined to return to Konoha with the success of his mission. As he limped, he could feel that his body was practically broken. The fight with Sasuke had taken a hell of a lot out of him. Taking multiple fire jutsu, having faced two Chidori and taken on Sasuke in level 2 curse seal was no joke. Add in tapping into the fox's chakra in that level was putting a major strain in his body. Even with his amazing healing ability, he still felt like shit. As his body was about to give in, he saw a blur of red and green heading in his direction. He began to panic. If it was the enemy, he knew that his worn-out body could not protect himself and Sasuke. Luckily it was two of his friend. The moment he lost consciousness, he manages to mutter out in a whisper. Gaara, Lee. Then, his body finally gave in. Konoha 3 days later, the moment he opened his eyes and noticed that he was surrounded with white walls, Naruto realized that he was in the hospital. With barely the energy, he started sit up and scan the room. He saw that he was in a simple room. With a little table in his side. He could see that there was one little flower in the vase, meaning that there was at least one person that visited him. As he tried to stand, he could feel that his body hadn't healed completely. Then suddenly he saw a person that was like a father to him. Iruka-sensei, what are you doing here? Asked Naruto. Naruto, you're awake. You should not be trying to move. You're still in pretty bad shape, said Iruka in a worried tone. Don't worry, Iruka-sensei. The future Hokage could not be easily weakened by these little injuries. Naruto said while wearing one of his foxy grins. Oh yeah, that reminds me, where's Sasuke team? I can't wait to see him. I bet that is very piss off after the beating that I gave him. He jokes while smiling. Iruka couldn't believe him. After what the Uchiha did to him, he still viewed him as a friend. Naruto, he is in the room at the end of the hall, Iruka managed to say. Thanks Iruka-sensei, Naruto said while he exited the room. As Naruto walked to the room of his teammate, he could not stop thinking that he had beaten his rival. That and the reaction of his other teammate. Truth be told, he fulfilled his promise toward Sakura-chan. He wondered what she'd say to him. As he approached the door, it opened to reveal his other teammate. Sakura-chan, look, I fulfilled my promise too. He was stopped mid-word as he was slapped to the face hard. How dare you, I ask you to bring him back alive. I didn't ask you to bring him back half dead. Shouted Sakura. But I did not have any choice. If I didn't fight him like that, he would have escaped and he may have killed me, Naruto retorted. Before Naruto could answer back, he was slapped again. I don't ever want to see you ever again. You hear me? I don't you ever show your face to me ever again. Shouted Sakura with anger in her voice as she slammed the door in his face. He was shocked by his friend's reaction. He brought back their teammate alive and fulfilled his promise to her. Maybe half dead, but alive nonetheless. If he hadn't fought Sasuke like that, Sasuke would have escaped and maybe he wouldn't be alive right now. As he was thinking, an Anbu interrupted his train of thoughts. Uzumaki Naruto, the council demands your presence, said the Anbu. End of flashback. As he stood to the center of the meeting hall, he scanned around to see the council members. He first saw Tsunade in the middle up. The two people beside him were the two elders. The person below him was a crippled old man. The people in the lowest seems to remind him of his friends, so he assumed they were their parents. Uzumaki, do you know why you're here? Said Hamura. Naruto didn't know what to answer, he just shook his head for a no. You are here because we are trying to decide your future in this village, said Hamura. What do you mean? Naruto asked, a little confused. We recently found out that there is an organization made up of S-rank criminals called Akatsuki, and their goal is to capture all 9 Jinchurikis. Well, we do not want to hand over the Bijuu to them. We cannot afford to put the village in danger either. With the sand and sound invasion during the Chunin exams, Konoha has become weaker than ever before. Said Kaharu. This organization out there, we don't even know all their members. The only ones we know so far are Uchiha Itachi, Hashige Kisame, and at some point in time Orochimaru. If this organization was to launch an attack on Konoha to get the Kyuubi, we can't be sure if we would survive the aftermath, which is why we have decided that Uzumaki Naruto will be banished from Konoha for the safety of the village. Said Hamura. Wait. Even if we banish the boy, all we are doing is handing him over to the Akatsuki, and they will get the Kyuubi's power. And I for one am not comfortable with handing over the power of the Kyuubi to a group of S-class missing ninjas. This will not eliminate the threat that the Akatsuki pose. All this will do will give them more power and make them into an even bigger threat than they are now, said Chaozu, with some members of the ninja council agreeing with him. If we listen to you, then we will be giving the most powerful and destructive force that we know to a bunch of criminals, and I don't think what those criminals have in plan for the Bijuu will be for the benefit of Konoha or any other village and country in Elemental Continent. Said Ino's father Inoichi. This matter is not something that is for debate. We have already gone to the Fire Daimyo and explained the situation to him. He has given us the go-ahead to banish him, but because of everything he has done for the village, he will not be put in the bingo book. Said Kaharu, which caused different reactions among the council members. Naruto hit the ground and slumped over. His world had been shattered, everything was gone, now his dream of being a ninja and goal of being Hokage. Although I hold no hatred for the boy, I do think it is better that he leaves. In our current condition, the village can't afford to have an enemy like the Akatsuki. With him gone, we can rebuild the village and our forces and deal with the Akatsuki in our own time when we are ready. Also, perhaps with him gone, Hinata will finally give up her silly little crush over the boy and start training more and become stronger like a true Haikyuu heiress should be. If not, I have no choice but to put her in the branch clan and have Hanabi be the new heiress. Thought Hiashi. The Anbu commander and Aburam Shibi just sadly shook their heads, knowing that this was a mistake that will one day come back to bite them. Tauza just sighed sadly, knowing his son would be greatly affected by this. Shikaku just thought, troublesome idiots. Danzo, Hamura and Kaharu just kept their face neutral, much like Hiashi. 1 hour and 30 minutes later, Naruto was in his apartment getting ready to leave and had just opened the documents Tsunade gave him after he left the council meeting. He had just finished reading the document concerning his parents, and when he finished he was so furious he had to bite down on his own tongue just to keep himself from screaming in rage at what he just found out. They lied to me. Hirosenin, Bachan and the old man, they all lied to me right to my face. Naruto furiously thought. Naruto had just found out he was the son of the Yondaime Hokage, and his mom was an orphan from a clan that was from another village, but that was not what pissed him off. What he was furious about was his father was the one that sealed the Kyuubi in him, and that bastard Jiraiya had been his godfather, and the prick left him to rot in the village for over 13 years. He had seen the bank accounts and the documents. They showed his family was pretty wealthy, with his dad being the previous Hokage and his mom coming from one of the founding clans of a village called Yuzushiogakure that was destroyed sometime between the Second and Third Shinobi War. They were not the richest families in Konoha, but they had enough money to last them for about 30 years without working. He had to scrimp and save every day of his life with the little amount he got from social welfare from the village, and all this time he had a fortune that was rightfully his. The village kept his inheritance from him. The village even denied him his birthright by keeping him from knowing his family and knowing where he came from, and even took his family name from him. Outside Konoha, outside the village on a hill overlooking it, a lone figure stood looking down at the village for the last time. It had not been too hard to sneak out of the village. He had decided to have one more look at the village before he left. My old life in Konoha is over now and a new one will begin outside it. But you Konoha. I vow this, in the name of my mother Uzumaki Kushina. I will become strong. I will become stronger than my father or anyone else that has ever been, and when I do you will be sorry that you ever banished me, and that is a promise of a lifetime, believe it. Naruto turned his back on the village and started to walk away from it. Few months later, it had been a while since Naruto left Konoha. He had just taken off in a random direction, not really caring where he was going. His first choice was to go to Suna, but that would cause problems for Gaara. Plus he wasn't sure if he would be welcome there with the other people in the village, since he was one of the reasons why the invasion failed. And even if Suna had been tricked into it, they still suffered a heavy loss and a humiliating defeat. Also that would bring trouble of the Akatsuki to their doorstep since, even though Gaara was a demon host like him, he could at least defend himself and his village, since it was surrounded by sand which Gaara could control it to an enormous degree. He had wanted to go to Snow Country. He knew Lady Koyuki would welcome him with open arms, but he couldn't go there because they had samurais and not ninjas. They would be easy targets for Akatsuki. The same went for Wave and Tea Country. He knew he needed to be with one of the 5 great shinobi villages to stand a chance of surviving an attack from the Akatsuki. Also he didn't know much about those small villages, so he didn't know how he'd be treated there. Kiri was out of the question since he had heard when he met Haku that they were in the middle of a civil war. Plus after he heard how people with bloodlines were treated there, he wanted no part of that village. Iwa was also out of the question since the moment they looked at him or found out where he was from, or even worse found out who his parents were, he would be killed on the spot and his head hung at the village gate entrance. The final choice was Kumo, but Naruto didn't want to go there since like Aim, Kusa and Hashi, he didn't know much about the village other than what Neji had told him in the Chunin finals. They had tried to kidnap his friend Hinata when she was only 3 and thus ended up with Neji losing his father. Because of this Naruto did not have a very high opinion of that village, so he decided against it. Naruto was still thinking about his friends back in Konoha and was still wondering if they would all hate him as well if they found out about him holding the Kyuubi. Foolish boy, you think those worthless mortals would understand you? How you are more pathetic than I thought, boy. Do you ever learn, kid, from your past experience? The pain, the sorrow that you're sorry for an excuse of a village inflict on you, or are you just being too stubborn for your own good? Said his tenant as he dragged down his foolish little container to his prison. Will you shut the hell up? What the hell do you know about my friends, huh? Shouted Naruto as he stares down the Kyuubi in his cage. After hearing what Naruto said, he burst out laughing. Ku. Oh, that's why you're wrong, my foolish little container. I have been alive even before your village had been created. I've seen the worst out of you mortals, and I could proudly say that the villagers of your so-called beloved home is one of the worst bunch of mortals I have ever seen. Said Kyuubi between his laughs. Will you just shut the hell up, said Naruto, trying to ignore what the Kyuubi said. Oh. You can keep ignoring me all you want, but you know deep down that all I'm telling you right now is the truth. That your village is full of worthless mortals. That could not even comprehend the difference between a weak human like you to an almighty demon lord like me. Said Kyuubi with a sinister smirk. You dare call me weak? You dare call my kind weak? No, we are not the weaklings. Your kind, and especially you, are the weaklings. Your kind has unlimited amount of power, but still all of you all end in prison, whether it be a powerful artifact or a human being like myself. My kind are stronger than your kind, for we could not just imprison your kind, but we could also use your power as well. Said Naruto with the first time in a long time with a proud smirk adoring his face. After finishing his speech, he felt a very violent killing intent directed to him. You dare insult me, you worthless piece of trash. You dare call me weak. You should be worshipping me right now for all the times I've saved that unworthy ass of yours, for all the times I lend you my power to save those so-called friends of yours, and all the thanks I get is you always disrespecting me and insulting me. You are nothing without me and you would be dead without me. You should know how lucky you are that this cage is blocking me right now because if it's not I will rip you to sherds. Shouted the Kyuubi while leaking as much killing intent and chakra that he could muster up. Be worthless. Huh. Don't make me laugh. You're the one who is trapped inside me. You're the one who got his ass kicked beautifully by the yondaime. So don't call me worthless because you're the one who's behind bars, not me. Oh, one more thing, worship. Tell me why in hell should I worship someone who's more pathetic than me? Said Naruto while repressing the urge to faint. You are really testing my patience, boy, Kyuubi shouted while reforming in a bubble in the sewer. Turning to a giant miniature bubble of his head facing Naruto. Face it, boy, you are nothing without me, so I suggest you start giving me respect for your sake, boy, or I will force you to show me respect. You need me and my power to survive, so just accept it and grovel at my feet so we could live in a perfect harmony. Shouted Kyuubi with a hint of amusement in his voice. After Naruto heard what the Kyuubi shouted, he moved his hand to the bubble miniature of the Kyuubi. I never needed you, not before, not now, and definitely not in the future. I will prove that to you, to the world, and more importantly to me. So I suggest return to your prison and I will return to the outside world. Said Naruto as he popped the bubble. After popping the bubble he suddenly returned to the forest where he was currently traveling, but not after hearing the last word of the Kyuubi, a faint "this is not over," is what he heard. Stupid fox, one day I will show you that I never needed and I will be powerful even without you, were the thoughts of Naruto as he started traveling again. 3 hours later, after traveling for 3 hours, Naruto spotted a village, a very poor village. By the looks of the village it seemed to be pretty damaged. The houses and the buildings were torn apart and it seems that parasites and rats seemed to come out to the cracks of the houses and buildings. After analyzing the village he decided to just avoid going to the village, seeing as he had nothing to gain in the village. But before he turned to another direction he felt a strong gust of wind going through his face towards the village. As he felt the wind he seems to feel that the wind is drawing him towards the village. Not knowing what to do next and seeing as he has nothing else to lose, he followed the wind towards the village. As Naruto was walking towards the village he could feel the wind being much stronger. This was unusual to him because he never felt the wind this strong around him. Oh, sorry there, old man, I didn't see you there. Said Naruto as he helped the old man stand up. No worries, youngster. No harm done, but where are you going? You seem sad and lost. Said the old man. No, I'm not lost, old man, I'm just traveling around. Said Naruto trying not to remember about his banishment. You seem too young to be traveling around. Are you a shinobi? Asked the old man. Yes, I am. Was the quick reply of Naruto. Ah, that explained a lot of things, but why aren't you wearing a forehead protector? I thought every shinobi have one of those. Asked the old man. After what the old man asked, Naruto was hesitant to answer, so he just faced the other side. Well, it's a long story. Said Naruto with a hint of sadness in his voice. After noticing the gesture of the youngster he quickly said, oh, I see. So I'll be going now. Hope I could talk to you some more, but I have somewhere to go. But before he could even walk the old man suddenly collapsed to the ground holding his stomach. Hey, are you alright? Asked Naruto a bit worried. Yes, I'm boy. I just haven't eaten for a long time, boy, said the old man while holding his stomach. Hey, what about you stop for a while so we could eat? I have more than enough to last me for a month. Naruto suggested. No, my boy, I don't want, but before he could finish his statement his stomach started growling again. No, I insist. You look like you need it. Said Naruto as he unpacked his food. The old man was about to argue some more, but he heard his stomach growling some more. So he just complies and eats together with the boy. So what is it like to be living in that village? Asked Naruto trying to start a conversation. After hearing the boy's question he momentarily stops eating. My boy, are you heading towards that village? Asked the old man while pointing towards the village. Naruto could only nod. Boy, do not go to that village, it has been abandoned for 30 years. Do you know why? Asked the old man. Naruto could only say no as he faced the village. Boy, that place was rumored to be the home of an old shinobi that fought in the Third Great Ninja War. A shinobi with terrifying reputation and power. He was said to have killed thousands of men during the war and had never been defeated. I think his name during the war was the Black Dragon of the Wind. It is said that his power over the wind is so strong that he could create a tornado by just raising his hand. It is said that after the war he returned to his original village and butchered every human being in his village. I was traveling to that place and I just went around that village because it's rumored that his spirit is still alive and kills anyone who enters that village. So boy, don't you dare enter that village. Was the warning of the old man. After the old man finished his warning he quickly finished his meal. Thank you, child, for the meal, and don't go inside that village, just go around it. Said the old man while walking away from the child. Naruto watched the old man disappear from the distance while thinking what the old man said. That village used to be the home of a powerful shinobi, powerful and a bloodthirsty shinobi at that. A war veteran that was said to kill thousands of men and never been defeated before. A shinobi with a very powerful control over the wind. After hearing what the old man said about that village and its history, he seems to hesitate to go forward to that village. As he start to consider to just avoid going through the village, he felt another strong gust of wind hit his body heading to that village. As if the wind is telling him to go through that village. What the hell is this wind thing doing to me? Is it trying to tell something? Well, it's heading towards that abandoned village, so why not just head there? I mean, the third ninja war happened more like 18 years ago, so I think that guy is probably dead, so why not go to his home and learn something about the guy? Maybe I could learn some of his cool jutsu while I visit his home. Were the thoughts of Naruto as he headed through the village. As he stepped foot inside the village, he quickly analyzed his surroundings. The houses and the buildings were really torn down when looked by afar, but now when he looks at it by close, the houses and the buildings were really a wreck and really was a dump. Some buildings as well was already demolished. As he continued to venture further inside the village, he could see that there is no life growing inside the village. There were skeletons of animals scattered around the place. The plants were all rotten and dead all around him, and it seems that nothing has grown inside the place for years. As he continues to walk, he saw a sign that seems to read the Village of Seals. What kind of village is called the Village of Seals? Naruto wonders as he continues to venture around the village. The village was really starting to creep him out. There really wasn't a sign of life anywhere he looked. The only thing he saw was death, and it really disturbs him. After reanalyzing his surrounding yet again, he decided to just get out of the village before it drives him to insanity. As he was headed towards the exit, he felt another gust of wind hit his body. What the hell is this wind again? This wind has been all around me all day. It may feel good, but it is really driving me crazy. Were the thoughts of Naruto as he headed towards the exit, but that seems to strengthen wind around him, trying to blow him off his feet. Okay, cut the wind thing already. I'll stay. Naruto thought out loud, and it seems to weaken the two breezes that is trying to lead him to somewhere. What the hell is this? All day this wind has been leading me to places that I can't understand, and as much my mind is telling me to ignore this wind, but my body, my gut, and my heart is telling me to follow this wind. Were the thoughts of Naruto as he considered between leaving the village or just follow the wind like he was doing all day. The moment that he considered his two choices, the breeze of wind is silently blowing in his entire body, trying to soothe him. The way that the wind is blowing around him did not go unnoticed by Naruto. Okay, geez, cut the wind thing already. I'll go wherever this thing is headed. Were Naruto's thoughts as follow the breeze of wind. As he follows the wind, it seems to lead him to a deeper part of the village, and the deeper he goes, the creepier it gets. He had spotted several skeletons of animals and some bones of humans as well. The smell of death was also in the air. Also, there was a thick mist that seems to envelope around him. It was answered by another gust of wind heading his way to a sign. As he approaches the sign, it seems to be covered in dirt. He swiped the dirt all over the sign so that he could read whatever is written on it. Whoever follow the wind in this place shall enter hell like no other. If you fail to pass that hell, you will be forever part of the wind blowing for eternity. If you pass, you will gain control and power over the wind as much as you desire. Leave and you will be part of the ground which you walk upon. Keep following the wind and you may live if you pass the trials. If fail, you will face total annihilation. Naruto read out loud. After he finished reading the sign, a strong gust of wind blew apart the wind in the graveyard, showing a path leading to a cave. Okay, that was very creepy, were his thoughts as he observes how the wind blows. The wind seems to invite him to enter the graveyard. Okay, I'm out here. This place is really freaking me out, Naruto shouted as he turned his back ready to get out of that place. But as he took the first step, he remembers what the sign said. Control and power over the wind, seems cool. But the sign said if I don't pass that hell, it's talking about I'll be dead. Were his thoughts as he took another step. But I have nothing else to lose anyway. I lost my friends, my dreams, and my little family. So what the hell do I have left to lose? Were his thoughts as he turns around facing the path that the wind made for him. What the hell? I really am crazy, but what the heck? I might see something cool there. So why not? Naruto said in a whisper as he set foot inside the graveyard. As he enters the graveyard, the temperature seems to drop considerably and the mist seems to envelope his feet. As he continued to walk, he seems to smell rotten bodies all around him again, only this time it is much stronger. Bones of humans were all scattered around him again, and it seems that some rotting flesh were also around him. Okay, this place is more of a boneyard rather than a graveyard. This place is really scary. Okay, remind me again why I'm here again. Naruto asked himself. His question was answered by a gust of wind passing through his face. Thanks for reminding, were his thoughts as he sweat drop. Finally, he was now face to face in the entrance of the cave. Another sign was placed there. Okay, another sign. Let's see what it says. Were his thoughts as he begins to read the sign. This is the entrance of the world of wind. Enter and you will step foot between life and death. Fail and you will sign your own death sentence. Pass and gain the power that you seek. Naruto read out loud. Great, another freaky sign were his thoughts as he entered the cave. The cave was devoured in complete darkness. He could not see any walls. Heck, he could not even see his own hands. The only thing that is leading him inside the endless cave was a breeze of wind flowing smoothly inside the cave. It was leading him to a place that he could not determine where. As he continues to walk inside the cave, he spotted a faint light in the far corner of the cave. Curious, he ran to the faint light. What he spotted was unreal. "Whoa," is the only thing that Naruto could mutter out. The room was in mint condition. There were multiple weapons, books, and scrolls. There were also multiple ninja tools. The room was made of some kind of metal that has one common symbol. The symbol is a dragon covered in wind contained in a drop of water. He was confused by the room until he spotted a decaying body in the corner of the room. As he approached the body, he felt a sudden feeling in his heart like it was telling him to something. As he reached the body, he could see that he was holding a giant scroll with a letter attached to it. To his curiosity, he took the letter and begins to read it. "Whoever has followed the wind inside my sacred haven. I congratulate you in surviving the village. If you ask why I put a special seal in the whole village. That seal will automatically kill whoever enters the village without a strong affinity towards the element wind, and also if they do not have a fairly strong affinity towards water. If you survive the cave as well, you have an affinity towards a rare element, shadow element. That element is said to only materialize in a shinobi once every 50 years. I should know I have the same affinity. Now whoever you are, I will tell you right now that I am death, but because I don't have any offspring nor any apprentice, whoever survives those seals, mean you are my heir of my power and skills. I am Satoshi, the Black Dragon of the Wind. That's all you need to know about me. The scroll that I am holding right now sealed all my knowledge, subconscious, and my last remaining humanity in this world. That scroll contains my mind and everything that I experience in all my life. It contains all my jutsu, all my skills, and all my knowledge in the world. It also contains my most prized possession. I do not wish to create another me in this world, for I know that I am demon that does not even deserve to live. However, I know my skills, and my knowledge will be needed in this world someday. To make sure that you don't turn into me, I created a spirit that will shape you to a shinobi that is even greater than me. To access everything that I say, open the scroll that I am holding and swipe your blood on the scroll. It will analyze your blood to know your strengths and weakness, your past, and your life, so that it will know how to train you. This is my last warning and advice. My warning is, do not succumb to great power, for it will turn you to monster. My advice is simply to follow the wind without question. Yours truly, Satoshi. P.S. If you fail the trainings of the spirit, you will die. After Naruto finishing reading the letter, he was surprised. This Satoshi person seems to be a powerful shinobi if what the letter said is true, and he lock all of his skills to the scroll that he is looking at right now. It shocked him that there is way to seal someone's subconscious in a scroll. It further shocked him because that person manages to seal everything about him in a scroll. He is now making a choice whether to do what the letter is saying or just ignore it and leave, for it will be disrespectful for this Satoshi person. As he was considering his choices, the usual wind that has been leading him to places is trying to tell him something. "So you're telling me to do it, huh? I've been following you all day, so why not?" said Naruto as he proceeded to open the scroll. Biting his thumb, he swiped a part of his blood inside the scroll. A moment of silence followed him after he swipes his blood inside the scroll. Suddenly a wave of light flashed in front of the face of Naruto. The light seems to be blinding him. After the light died down, the scroll begins to suck every in the room, including him. Naruto was beginning to panic. First was the strange light, and now the scroll is sucking him inside of it. He was trying now to run to the exit, but that strange wind again came. Now it really said something to him. "Follow me, Naruto," the wind said to Naruto. Naruto didn't know what to do, so he just followed the wind and let the scroll suck him into the unknown. He was beginning to lose consciousness as he was being sucked inside the scroll. Then suddenly he saw the same old man that he bumped to earlier. He made the right choice. "Child of prophecy," was all the old man said, and was all that he heard as he disappeared before his eyes and as his world turned black. Chapter 2. Training, Master, Spirit, and Sword. Naruto had just woken up after going into the portal. He noticed he was resting in a small room in the middle of a very large room. The entire room was covered in a white mist that seems to emit a strange aura around him. The mist covers the entire room except for two things. First is his bed, and second is a table beside the bed. Looking at the table, he found a letter with his name written on it. He then proceeds to read the letter. "Dear child, if you're reading this, then it means you're already awake. Follow the dragonfly beside this letter. The dragonfly will lead you to where you will meet your trainer. Hurry boy, I don't like waiting too long." After finishing the letter, he searched for the dragonfly but saw nothing. Suddenly a dragonfly came in front of him. "What the hell?" screamed Naruto as he jumped several feet backward. "Boy, don't be scared, just follow me and your hell will begin," said the dragonfly as he leads Naruto out of the room. Naruto dumbly followed the dragonfly, not knowing what to do. As he followed the dragonfly, he noticed that the room he was in was like a prison cell, which disturbed him very much. Heading out of the room, Naruto saw a small corridor, and he could also see an opening the end of the corridor that they reached very quickly. After exiting the corridor, he saw a man sitting in a rock. "Boy, go to him," was the last word of the dragonfly as he disappeared. Naruto then approached the man sitting in the rock with caution. He could feel a strange aura in that man that was similar to the Kyuubi. The man was wearing a trench coat, so he could not see the face or the body of that man. "Boy, you really have knack for being startled," said the man with a voice that seems to remind him of Gaara, but it has more warmth in it. "Well, the last thing I know is," but he was quickly interrupted by the man. "Yes, kid, I know why you're here. I could say your life is such a pity. But alas, you are an idiot as well," chuckled the man. "Hey, what's that supposed to mean?" screamed Naruto. "Boy, the scroll you open helps me scan your memories, heart, mind, personality, attitude and skills, and my only comment to you is that you are a complete idiot," said the man. Naruto was angry at what the man said and attacked him. This resulted in his head being slammed to the ground hard. "Boy, my first lesson: avoid fighting people who are stronger than you and you'll live longer, I guarantee it," said the man while he held his neck. Naruto was surprised by the man's speed. The man seemed to move faster than Kakashi or Guy and even Jiraiya. What did he mean first lesson? Naruto asked himself. "What do you mean first lesson?" asked Naruto. The man sighed. "Man, you really are stupid and clueless." This only further angered Naruto. "Boy, if you remember the letter Satoshi-sama said, he said that he left a spirit with all his knowledge, all his experience, and all of his skill. I am that spirit and I will be the one teaching you, his heir, all you need to know. Especially once you are out in this scroll dimension, you have a lot of enemies that are going to try to kill you, 9S class shinobi in an entire village, your life is full of shit. Now listen to me so we could start your training, boy," lectured the man. That calms Naruto down. He remembers what the content of the letter is, especially the spirit part. "So you're the spirit, huh?" Naruto asked dumbly. "Yes, boy, I am, and because you seem curious, before we start you can ask me anything," said the man. "Okay, could you first let go of my neck?" said Naruto. "Oh, sorry for that," as he lets go of his neck. "First thing first, where are we?" asked Naruto. "We are in a scroll dimension. It is an advanced sealing jutsu that could create a landscape in a scroll. This place also could block the influence of the Kyuubi," answered Kurikangu. "Who are you?" "My name is Kurikangu, Black Diamond." "Weird name, so what kind of spirit are you?" "You will find that out later." That seemed to irritate Naruto even further, but he tried to hide it to the best of his abilities because he doesn't want to be choked again. "Why did that scroll choose me?" That question brought silence between the two for several minutes. Naruto didn't want to say anything because he felt that one wrong word would result in a very painful experience. "I knew sooner or later you'll ask that question, but not this early. You want to know the answer, kid?" Which Naruto nodded. "Look below you, boy," said Kurikangu, which Naruto obliged. What Naruto saw completely surprised him. The ground beneath him suddenly changed to a portrait of a man. The man had long black hair, silver eyes that seemed to be cold, and his face seems to be serious. He was wearing a black trench coat that covers his whole body and wielding a large and black zanbadam. The zanbadam seems to be made out of several large diamonds. "Boy, the man is Satoshi-sama, my master and my creator," said Kurikangu. Naruto was analyzing the portrait that he was looking at. "What kind of shinobi was he?" asked Naruto. "I will show you his life and then that question of yours, you will answer yourself," said Kurikangu. Then he raises his hand, then multiple images flash through Naruto's eyes. Naruto could not believe what he was witnessing right now. He was witnessing a life of a powerful shinobi right before his eyes. The man's skill was unbelievable. His control over his element was inhuman. He could control the wind like it was part of his body. Also, the control over his sub-element was also amazing. But the thing that amazes him more was how he uses his sword and his weapons. He was using 2 swords and 1 spear at the same time. The first sword was the sword that he was holding in the portrait. It was as large as him, but he could still control it masterfully. The second sword was a double-bladed sword. That sword was as tall as his first sword, but he could use it so well. His third weapon was a spear. The spear seems to resemble a trident. He was controlling the spear by spinning it in his body. Watching him perform that sword dance was amazing to watch. It was beautifully executed but also deadly. But the thing that made him sad and angry was the way they treated him when he was old. His very own village attempted to kill when he was getting old. That was the reason why there were multiple bones of people in the village. When he was betrayed, he protected himself against all the shinobis of his village. He managed to kill them all but with a prize. He was severely wounded multiple times. So the last thing he did was to make sure that he was remembered. He put a seal in the entire village that would kill anyone without his requirement. He needs to pass his skills. He also seals all his knowledge, his scroll, and his double-bladed sword. The other sword on the other hand was sealed in the scroll by a strange ritual. After the sealing, he quickly embraces the scroll while writing the letter. Then it went black. "So boy, after watching his life, what kind of shinobi do you think he is?" asked Kurikangu. "He was an honorable man. An amazing shinobi and an even more amazing person. Answer Naruto. You're correct, boy. He was a fantastic warrior, a good friend, and a good master. He treated everyone with respect even if they don't give a shit about him. Said Kurikangu. Now boy, to answer your second question, remember the sword that he was wielding in the portrait? Naruto nodded. That was me, boy, said Kurikangu. How can that be you? Said the surprised Naruto. Boy, do you know what Ascension Sword? Asked Kurikangu. Naruto shook his head no. Ascension Sword is a type of sword that has a spirit, a soul and a mind. Ascension Sword chooses who its master is. Normally Ascension Sword is created by a powerful being, mostly a sage, a spirit, or a tail beast. But my master is very special. He was the one who had created me. Explained Kurikangu. How did he create you? Asked an astonished Naruto. He had a godlike affinity toward the wind. It was so strong that it created a wind spirit. That spirit was me. Answered Kurikangu. Wait, you mean? Yes boy, you have the same godlike affinity towards the wind as my former master, to the extent that you created a wind spirit in your subconscious. Now boy, before we start I'm going to tell you what we are going to work on. We are going to work on ninjutsu, kinjutsu, and finjutsu, and before you ask I'm going to explain why you're learning those specific skills. First is ninjutsu. It is the best way for you to control your element, and by the looks of things in your memory, and by the things I see in you, you have untapped potential in ninjutsu. Second is kinjutsu. It is the second best way for you to control your element and can enhance your ninjutsu by tenfold if you know how to use a sword properly. And lastly finjutsu. It is the best way to contain your pet inside you. It can also be the best way to contain some material that you will need in your journey. And the most important thing in why you are going to learn about seals is because if you become proficient with seals, you could help you in your battles and training. Now boy, shall we start your training or what? Asked Kurikangu. Yes, let's start. Said Naruto with much excitement in his voice. He could not wait to learn those ninja arts. After hearing Naruto's answer he snaps his fingers. The effect is instantaneous. The entire field was changed. The corridor changed into a valley, with several land formations surrounding the entire valley. Boy, first we are going to work in your psyche and your chakra control. Your psyche because your body can't survive some A-class and S-class jutsu and chakra control, because you just really suck in controlling your chakra, that you could not perform any higher jutsu or any jutsu that requires better chakra control, and more importantly you just suck at controlling your very enormous chakra. Then we are going to follow it up by taijutsu and jinjutsu. After those we are going to work on those 3 ninja art that I mentioned. Any questions? Said Kurakagu to Naruto. Yes. I have one. I can understand the psyche and chakra control stuff. Scowling at the mention of his horrible chakra control, but why do I have to learn taijutsu and jinjutsu? I thought only ninjutsu, kinjutsu, and finjutsu are the things that you are going to teach me. Asked Naruto. That question earned Naruto a light punch to the gut. Boy, if I only teach you those 3 you will have an enormous weakness in those 2. Weaknesses in the ninja world means death. Any more stupid question? Naruto, even though still rather upset by the punch he received, just shut his mouth. Good. Now before we start, first create 20 shadow clones, which Naruto dumbly created the shadow clones. Now that you created the shadow clone, may the original step forward. The original Naruto then suddenly stepped forward. Boy, listen to me now. I will tell you now your first warm-up exercise. Naruto now was listening to him very carefully. First you must run 100 laps around the valley, followed by 150 push-ups, then 200 sit-ups, and lastly 100 squat thrust. After you finish, seek me out for another workout. Instruct Kurakagu. After hearing what Kurakagu said, Naruto's face had turned ghostly pale. What he was about to do seemed like torture. But his reaction didn't go unnoticed by his trainer. I know boy that what you're about to do seems like torture, but we need to make you stronger as fast as possible, because by the things I saw in your memory, we only have at least 3 to 4 years to make you powerful to take on a Kage level shinobi. You have the potential to surpass my master and the leaders you called Hokage, but you need to experience hell first to gain the power and strength you need. Power and strength comes from hard work, training, and determination. There are no shortcuts for gaining power and strength. Do you understand me, boy? Lecture Kurakagu. What Kurakagu said actually calmed him, made him feel relief, but he still have one question in mind. Okay, now I understand this warm-up exercise that you want me to do, but why did you ask me to create 20 shadow clones? Asked Naruto. The answer is very simple. We are going— Wait a minute. Do you need me for that? Asked Naruto. Boy, all I need is 20 shadow clones. You, the original, just need to do all the physical stuff of the training, and your clones will handle all the things that involve a book. Said Kurakagu. How the hell could I learn about sealing if my clones learn it and not me? Asked a confused Naruto. Kurakagu stared at the boy with disbelief. How could this boy not know the secret of his most favorite jutsu? He had practically used it more than 500 times, more than his master had used it in his lifetime. But yet these boys haven't discovered the secret of that jutsus. Then and there he knew that it was going to be a long 3 years. Boy, don't tell me you hadn't discovered the secret of the shadow clone jutsu. No, I haven't. What do you mean secret of the shadow clone? Naruto asked dumbly. To make a long story short, if you dispel a shadow clone, all its knowledge and its experience will return to the original. I can't believe you hadn't noticed that. You have been using this jutsu a lot, and I mean a lot, said Kurikangu. I used it all the time and didn't notice it, said Naruto looking embarrassed. Just start running before I beat the shit out of you. Which Naruto obediently obeyed. That was the start of his training. Every morning he was forced to wake up at 3 in the morning. He started with 200 laps around the valley, then 150 push-ups, followed by 200 sit-ups, followed by 200 sit-ups, and lastly 100 squat thrust. After those so-called warm-ups, Kurikangu turned the valley into a huge gym complete with weights. He is instructed to have at least 5-minute workout in each workout, gizmos and weight, which is a total 10-hour workout. After the physical training, which took him all afternoon, he went to the chakra control training. That training was a bit more difficult for Naruto because of the unbalance of his and the fox chakra, but it was quickly resolved. The solution was to temporarily lock the fox chakra away so it could not influence him, or to throw his chakra control out of control. The first chakra control exercise is, as usual, the tree climbing exercise, but with an odd twist. While climbing the tree he was wearing a special kind of weights. Those weights weigh 100 pounds, and if he puts more chakra to his feet rather than the right amount for the exercise, the weight will add another 20 pounds, depending on how much chakra he adds to his feet. Nonetheless, Naruto had managed to complete those exercises by the end of the day. Even though the physical exercises took a lot out of him. Thanks to his inhuman stamina, he had managed to complete the improved chakra control exercise after 500 tries and after 500 times falling in his ass. At night he was tested in seals, which he found very interesting. He didn't know that studying seals would be so much fun and easy for him. Even though technically it was his clones learning those seals. He was always tested, which he always perfected, shocking Kurikangu. Every 3 days his training regime always intensified. Those warm-up exercises had gotten more intense. Kurikangu added weight to his ankles, weighing 50 pounds in each limbs and adding 10 more rounds in each exercise. Also, the gym that he was using had tripled the weight to all the barbells that he was using. Also, he added gymnastics and aerobics to his regime. The chakra control exercise also intensified 10-folds. He now has to wear those special weights that were slightly enhanced to add 100 pounds if he puts too much chakra to an exercise. It was difficult for him not to drown in the lake that Kurikangu created for him, and also difficult for him not to fall in a cliff that he was climbing. Also, the waterfall climbing and the kunai and senbon needle balancing exercise was like hell impossible to him, especially the waterfall climbing exercise. He always fall to his ass because of the weights. Kurikangu was impressed by the boy. Truth be told, he was waiting for Naruto to complain to him about the exercises that he was giving to him, because he knows that it seems too much for the young boy, but it never came, not a single complaint. He just executed all the exercise that he gave him. It surprised him because in his memories he seldom complains to that lazy sensei he was having in Konoha. The moment he asked why he wasn't complaining, his answer completely shocked him. You are the only one who gives the time and day to actually train me. If I complain about the training you're giving me, it means that I'm not thankful, and I am very thankful, master, was his simple answer. That impressed him, and at that moment decides to devote himself to training him with all of his master's knowledge that was left for him, especially for him. After 4 months he had finally perfected the chakra control exercises. His chakra control now was almost as good as an Anbu. Also, the result of the physical was also visible. His small body had turned very muscular, not like those bodybuilders, but still very big for his age. He also grown a couple of inch because all the food that he was eating was all healthy and no ramen, which he almost complained about. After those 4 months and seeing the result of the first part of his training, Kurikangu decided to go to second stage of his training, which is Taijutsu and Jinjutsu. Kurikangu started teaching Naruto his master's Taijutsu style, Dance of the Diamond Dragon, which focuses on 2 principles. The first principle of the style is to move in high speed while delivering heavy kicks and punches. The second principle is to use the force of your opponent against him. The thing now that they have to work on now is speed, strength, and accuracy. Naruto had surprised Kurikangu yet again. He had managed to learn the basics of the style in under a week. That was rather surprising because his master took 2 years to complete that style. Even though he was using 100 shadow clones while learning the basic, it is still a remarkable thing to accomplish. Amazing, this kid is just purely amazing. He manages to increase his speed and accuracy in a short period of time to learn the basic of the style. He even managed to learn some of its stances. He might learn this style faster than have predicted. Were the thoughts of Kurikangu as he watches Naruto performing some katas. The next part of his training, or as Naruto likes to call it, a pain in the head and a major pain in the ass, is Genjutsu. This is the most difficult part in Naruto's training because he is not a Genjutsu type and Naruto and Kurikangu knows it. Knowing that it's impossible for Naruto to cast a high-ranking Genjutsu even if his life depend on it. Kurikangu only focused his training on casting low-level Genjutsu and dispelling high-level Genjutsu, but even that task seemed very difficult for Naruto. He really wasn't a Genjutsu type, so even a small task that involved Genjutsu was difficult for him to accomplish. But even that problem was short-lived. They solved that problem by adding more chakra control exercises and meditations in his regime, which greatly improved his focus and his ever-improving chakra control. In addition, it also improved the concentration he needed to learn how to dispel any high or low Genjutsu, but for casting any Genjutsu, well, that was another different story. For casting Genjutsu he still needed a lot more control and a hell of a lot of focus. It took him 5 months to actually get used in even using the simplest Genjutsu. But for Kurikangu, his skill in Genjutsu is proficient enough to actually use in a battle. It took 1 year to finish the first and second part of his training. Now it's time to move on to the main part of his training, namely ninjutsu and kinjutsu. Boy come, Kurikangu called Naruto in the middle of his training. What is it, master? Asked Naruto. Boy, your progress is a lot quicker than I have ever expected. In a year you had mastered my master's Taijutsu style in less than 3 months. Your skills in Genjutsu may not be the best, but it's still proficient enough to actually use in a battle. Also, your Genjutsu training is going very well to the extent that you might be considering as a Genjutsu genius. But that we are going to start your ninjutsu training, said Kurikangu. Naruto was now excited. He always wanted to learn more about ninjutsu and now his dream is about to come true and he is very excited. So what's first, master? Asked Naruto. First we are going to work on your elemental manipulation. You're not going to ask what's elemental manipulation is, are you? Asked Kurikangu. Master, I already know what elemental manipulation. Elemental manipulation is manipulating one's chakra to become an element. Every shinobi has at least one affinity towards an element. The most common elements are fire, wind, earth, lightning and water. There are also some sub-elements that could only achieve by combining some of the basic elements. Am I right, master? Asked Naruto. You're correct, boy. May I ask, how did you learn the meaning of elemental manipulation? Asked Kurikangu. Master, when my clones are studying about seals, I send some clones to your library to learn other things like philosophy, anatomy, and history. I figure some knowledge will also help me against my enemies once I'm out in this scroll dimension. One of my clones found a book and scrolls about elemental manipulation and decided to read it. That's the reason why I learned about elemental manipulation. Naruto explained. Kurikangu is now officially impressed. The boy manages to learn some knowledge that will truly help him in the outside world without even him ordering him to do it. Now this part of his training will be a walk in the park. Impressive. Now to get back to the main topic. So if you read the book about elemental manipulation, you know what you're going to do next, am I correct? Asked Kurikangu. Naruto nodded. Kurikangu then snapped his fingers and the effect is instantaneous. The valley that they were currently residing turned into a forest. This boy will be your training ground for your elemental manipulation. There are trees and waterfalls for your wind manipulation training. There is also giant lake over there for your water manipulation training. Lastly, there is also a lot of shadows here that you may use in your shadow manipulation training. Any questions, boy? Said Kurikangu. Yes, just one. I know both exercise about wind and water manipulation, but I know nothing about the exercises about shadow manipulation, said Naruto. After hearing what Naruto said, Kurikangu threw him a scroll. All the exercises about shadow manipulation are all in that scroll. So I suggest you start right now. And so it begins his training with his elements. He had first created 600 clones and then assigning 200 clones in each exercise. He and 200 of the clone are the ones going to perform the wind manipulation exercise, 200 of the clones are doing the water manipulation exercise, and another 200 of the clones are doing the shadow manipulation exercise. Naruto and his clone had started doing their respective exercises. The original Naruto and 200 of the clones had begun trying to cut a leaf in half because that is the first step in wind manipulation. Another 200 clones had started trying to create a small current in the nearest lake and the remaining 200 clones begun reading the first step in shadow manipulation. The scroll said that there are 3 steps in shadow manipulation. The first step in shadow manipulation is to make your shadow move. The second step is to expand the shadow. The third and last step is to make your shadow rise from the ground and materialize. After finishing the scroll, the 200 clones began the first exercise. Now his daily routine has changed. His physical and chakra control training was now cut in half and only occupy the morning, and all afternoon and evening was his elemental manipulation training. His elemental manipulation training had progress in 3 months and the result was outstanding. By using 600 clones and 200 clones in each elemental exercises, he had accomplished what a normal ninja would need several years to accomplish. He had mastered his affinities in less than 3 months. He had reached mastery of each his affinities in under a short amount of time, and his mastery and control over his affinities is so good that he modified his Taijutsu style using his 3 affinities and created 3 new Taijutsu styles. He modified Dance of the Diamond Dragon to create the Dance of the Elemental Dragons. The Dance of the Elemental Dragons utilizes each of his elemental affinities to create 3 katas, the Dance of the Crystal Wind, the Dance of the Crimson Ocean, and the Dance of the Hell Shadow. Each of those katas has its own specific uses. The Dance of the Crystal Wind is used for offense. The wind's cutting ability is the best way to deliver heavy and lethal damage. The Dance of the Crimson Ocean is used for defense. The water's ability of form modification is perfect in blocking heavy damage. The Dance of the Hell Shadow, on the other hand, is used for counter-attacks and capture. The Shadow's ability to capture the enemy is the best way to set up a counter-attack. If all those katas are combined, the Dance of the Elemental Dragons is going to be a dangerous fighting style. The Dance of the Elemental Dragons is Naruto's original Taijutsu style. He learned that each of his elements has a specific specialty in battle. The water element is an element which he could be modified to any shape he wants, making it best for defense. Also, water could also be used for drowning the opponents or trapping them in a large area. The shadow element, on the other hand, has the ability to manipulate your shadow or any shadow that he touches into a weapon that is suited for either capturing or attacking in different areas. The shadows also have the ability to create voids, which he could either to teleport himself in a short distance or to spy on the enemy. The wind, on the other, is a different element for Naruto. The wind is his favorite element even when he was in Konoha. The wind for him could do those things that water and shadow could do and more. The wind is an unpredictable element. The wind has many uses. It could be used for cutting, or could be used as explosive, or it could also be used to carry anything in the sky, or it could form cyclones, tornadoes, or anything his heart desire. The possibilities is endless for this element. Thinking of the possibilities and the capabilities of the wind further excites Naruto. The moment Naruto finishes elemental manipulation training, his master has given him access to the Jutsu library. The Jutsu library is full of jutsu that was bordering from C-class to S-class jutsu. Most of the jutsu in the library are water and wind base, but there are also some of the elements like lightning, earth, and fire. But the thing that Naruto found it strange was that there are only handfuls of shadow-based jutsu. He asks his master why, and his master answer is, there are only handfuls of shadow-based jutsu because a person who has a shadow affinity only comes along once every 50 years. So there are only few jutsus which is shadow base. The Nara clan can't be considered having a shadow affinity because they don't even know the full potential of the shadow element. Hearing what his master said gave him an idea. The idea was to create his own jutsu, not for just shadow, but also his wind and water element. With that said, he only picks out a few jutsu from the jutsu library and began studying them and slowly trying to master them, and after mastering them trying to create a new version of the jutsu. That has been his routine for 3 months, with the help of his clone, learning a new jutsu and creating 3 or more version of that jutsu. In less than 3 months he has learned many jutsu and created quite a few of his own. His creations were all A-class and S-class base on the jutsu that he had already mastered. But his real masterpiece was the Rasengan. Yes, his best work and his greatest creation was modifying and improving the Rasengan. He Master One said that the Rasengan is a jutsu with limitless potential, and truth be told, Naruto agreed with him 100%. The Rasengan was his first offensive jutsu and his signature ninjutsu. That was why he had improved it as much as possible. He had improved the Rasengan by adding his affinities to the jutsu. The effect was incredible, it had tripled the power of the Rasengan, but strangely that wasn't enough for him. So not yet satisfied, he decided to create other version of the Rasengan. In 3 months he has successfully created 4 Rasengan, all of them wind base, and he was aiming in creating 9 more versions. The reason why all of them are wind base was because his master observation of the Rasengan was that it was perfect for wind based jutsu. Another 3 months had passed, and now Naruto has an impressive ninjutsu library and had created many original jutsu and created a total of 13 versions of the Rasengan, all bordering from S-class to SS class, and 2 of those versions are SSS class designed to destroy large area in one hit, and Naruto is proud of his creation, and also his master was proud of him. Gurakongu was impressed. Not just because he mastered his elemental manipulation training in record time, but also because his determination in creating and improving his jutsu. He was right, the kid was a genius when it comes to ninjutsu. Those jutsus that he created was a sentiment to what he said. Now the kid's level might be compared to a kage. His chakra capacity surpassed some of the kages his master and him have faced in the past. His skill level is practically kage level as well, with a mastery of his element, a very high level in ninjutsu, mastery in genjutsu, a high level in taijutsu, and a mid level in genjutsu. Yes, the kid could be a kage right now, but there is one more thing that the kid need to learn, and that was his specialty. Boy, leave your clones to do your ninjutsu. As they walk far from the clones, Naruto noticed that the appearance of the field is changing. The forest was changed into a graveyard full of swords. Naruto is now trying to decipher what is the meaning of this. But suddenly he felt a sword was about to hit him, so he jumped a couple of feet. After avoiding the sword, he glared at the one who almost cut him in half. It shocked him to see that it was his master holding a sword that was made out of black diamonds. Boy, your Kenjutsu training begins now, he said as he stand and look at his student. Your training in the other arts has already progressed. You're a genius when it comes to elemental manipulation, ninjutsu, and Kenjutsu. You have some talent in Taijutsu. Your only weak point is your Jinjutsu. You could not cast a high-level Jinjutsu, but at least you could dispel them. Now let's begin the final step of your training, my favorite, Kenjutsu. Kurikongu explained. Master, I have a question. Why attack me if I'm learning Kenjutsu? Naruto asked. The question was answer and another sideward slash which Naruto narrowly avoided. The reason why I'm attacking with a sword is because it is the fastest way for you to learn Kenjutsu. Now boy, pick up a sword and let's start the training, or do you want me to massacre you before you pick out a sword? Said Kurikongu, shouting the last part. Naruto, hearing his master, grabbed the nearest sword that he could see and prepared in a basic sword stance. His master, seeing that, begun his attack. He charged at Naruto in a speed that was as fast as Rock Lee when he opened the gates, then hitting Naruto with a powerful downward thrust which Naruto blocked with his sword. Naruto was shocked by the power of that thrust. It felt like being hit by a 2-ton boulder. But that didn't stop his master. He quickly followed it up by a combination of slashes and stabs, in which Naruto narrowly blocked or dodged. First lesson: always listen to your sword, he said after thrusts. He then continues his lecture and onslaught. A sword is not an ordinary weapon, it has a heart, and you must listen to it to become a Kenjutsu master. After finishing what he said, he grabs the nearest sword and tried to slash Naruto's midsection, but Naruto had managed to block, but the result was both their swords being shattered. After his sword being shattered, he quickly jumps a couple of feet and grabs the nearest sword he could see, then returning to a defensive stance. His master, seeing that Naruto was now armed, quickly charged. He tried another slash in Naruto's head, but Naruto blocked it with his sword, and grabbing the nearest sword, his master tried another thrust, this aiming to his feet, but Naruto, noticing the thrust, quickly jumped another couple of feet away from his master. Lesson 2: always study your terrain and make it your ally. After finishing what he said, he charged at Naruto again. The hell with this, I'm being manhandled. If this continued, I'll be slaughtered for sure. There is only one way for me to turn the tide, and that. As he thought of an idea, he grabbed nearby sword as to attack myself. He then charged at his master with all his strength. Smart move, but it's not enough. He then met with Naruto in an exchange of slash and thrust in midair. As they continued to trade blows, Naruto was beginning to weaken because of the strong attacks that his master was giving him. His master, noticing it, grinned. It's time for a little dance. At that though, he began to do a complicated series of thrust and slicing moves. Naruto, seeing those moves, tried to create distance between him and his master, but it was no avail. He was finding it difficult to defend in the barrage of attacks. Then suddenly he felt a strong hit in the gut. Looking at the source of pain, he saw the fist of his master connecting to his gut, and it was followed by an uppercut and then a swift kick to the gut, sending him a couple of feet away from him. Lesson number 3: don't focus on the sword, also focus at the body of your opponent. But that said, Naruto picked up another sword and charged at his master again. That has been their new routine. Naruto will create 1,000 clones that will work on his chakra control exercise, his ninjutsu training, and his study in Kenjutsu. The original Naruto, on the other hand, will be trained by Kurikongu in Kenjutsu. Naruto's training in Kenjutsu only consists in one exercise, and that's not to get killed by his master while learning the basic strikes and stances of Kenjutsu. Easy, right? Well, not exactly. His master's styles is wild and dangerous, and count to that his masterful control over that giant sword of his. It was difficult for him not just to get beheaded by his master, but also trying to attack his master as well. But because Naruto is a fast learner and he could easily adapt to anything, he had managed to figure out his master's style in a week, and that caused him less injuries after the end of their session. But still, it was still difficult for him to actually think of a counter, but still it was an improvement. It took him a month to create an original dance of his own to counter his master's wild style, but still his master's experience and masterful control over his large sword is still biting him in the ass. He was still trying to figure out how to counter that, but for now he has a large sword to dodge. Chapter 3. Family Meetings. Disclaimer: I don't own Naruto. This is chapter 3. I know I skipped parts in this chapter, but I don't want to show those parts because of the people who haven't read the newest spoilers yet. Naruto was seriously exhausted and breathing heavily with bruises and cuts all over his body. His clothes had been almost torn up, he had blood all over his body, but yet had a smile on his face. His 4-year training had just been completed. After learning all the jutsus and technique he could learn in the past 4 years, he had decided to try and learn how to control the Kyuubi's chakra. He first had to change the seal his father created. Instead of the Kyuubi still controlling its chakra and sending his chakra to Naruto anytime it wanted, Naruto's new seal had cut off the Kyuubi from its chakra. It had not been easy. Even after he had applied his new seal, the Kyuubi had proved, well, he was the strongest of all Biju. Even without its chakra it had almost killed him. Had it not been from the 4 years intense training he took, he was not sure if he would have survived, but now he had full control of the chakra. Well, he locked up the Kyuubi in a cage until it cooled down. Naruto was interrupted from his thoughts by a voice. "Congratulations, Naruto-kun, you were able to control the Kyuubi without any help," said a female voice as Naruto turned around and saw a pretty red-haired woman in front of him with purple eyes. For some reason he felt that he should know the woman. "I must say you've definitely gotten strong," another voice added as Naruto looked behind the woman and saw a face that he never thought he would see as long as he lived. There was his father, the 4th Hokage, in all his glory. As Naruto looked at the man, different emotions ran through him: shock, confusion, and finally anger took over him. "You hear?" roared as he launched at the man in speeds that shocked both parents as he developed a devastating punch to his father's stomach that sent the man doubled over. "Do you know how much trouble and pain you put me though, and what kind of father seals a demon into their own son minutes after they're born?" Naruto roared as tears were starting to fall from his eyes as he tried to approach him again as he saw the chains had erupted out of nowhere and held him to the ground as he saw that it came from the red-haired lady. "Naruto, I know you are angry, but please calm down and let us explain everything," the woman said in a motherly tone that surprisingly calmed the blonde boy down. "Sorry if I'm being rude, but whom are you?" Naruto asked confusingly. "Minato-kun, can you believe it, our own son doesn't recognize me?" the red-haired lady said as she threatened to spill fake tears as Minato could only smile. While Naruto was shocked as he did not know that the woman before him was his own mother. "Naruto, I know you are mad at me for sealing the Kyuubi in you, but believe me, I had no choice," Minato explained as Kushina released the chains and pulled him up. "Before you say anything, I want to explain everything that happened that night," Minato said. "I am not going to go into details about what happened the night of the sealing because I don't want to spoil it for people who have not read up to the manga yet." By the time his father was done, Naruto was shocked to find out everything that happened and why his father sealed the Kyuubi into him. "Wait, so you mean Madara Uchiha is still alive? How that is possible?" Naruto asked, genuinely confused since the man was supposed to be well over 100 years old. "I don't know, Naruto, but I guess the Sharingan has more abilities than most people believed," his father said. "After everything that happened, do you still hate us?" Kushina asked in a surprisingly quiet voice. "At first I was mad when I found out you sealed the Kyuubi in me. I never hated you. Yeah, I was a little mad when I found out you sealing the Kyuubi in me, but I never hated you, and after finding out the whole truth behind the attack, I can't be mad at you. I'm sorry for hitting you and saying all those things, Dad," Naruto said as tears was spilling from his eyes and his mom hugged him. He then noticed that she started to fade along with his dad. "Looks like we have to go, Naruto. We didn't put that much chakra into the seal. I'm even surprised we lasted this long," Minato explained as he went up to his son and hugged him while ruffling his hair. "Before we leave," Minato said as he pushed 2 of his fingers on Naruto's forehead. "I transferred my memories from my battle with Madara and all my techniques into you. I have a feeling you are going to need it when you are ready to fight Akatsuki," he explained to Naruto. Mom, Dad, thanks for everything," Naruto said. "Don't forget we will always love you," his mom said as she was crying. He was crying freely while his parents both smiled at him and they disappeared while Naruto was left alone. When he woke up, he found a headache coming on as he sat up and saw Kurokangu sitting on a rock. "I take it was a success," the spirit said to his apprentice. "Yes, master, the seal worked to perfection and I was able to take the Kyuubi's chakra," Naruto said in a saddened voice since he knew that his training was over and he'll have to destroy the portal by leaving. "Do you have everything you need?" the spirit asked. He knew why the boy was sighed, but there was nothing he could do about it. This was meant to happen. "Yes, master, I do, and thank you for everything," Naruto said as he bowed to the spirit, who nodded his head in return and watched as Naruto exited the portal and ran as fast as he could through the destroyed village that he passed 4 years ago. When he got to a safe distance from the village, he saw the explosion and the village disappeared, never leaving a trace that it had been there before. It had been 2 weeks since he finished his training and was in a village in the border of the Land of Lightning and Tea Country. When he got out of the portal, the first thing he did was get new shinobi attire. He now wore black shinobi pants with a black long-sleeved shirt and a black flak jacket like the ones the Konoha Jounin wore. He had black shinobi sandals, and then he wore a battle cloak like the one his father had, except this one was light orange and had black flames at the bottom and the sleeves. He knew it had been 4 years since he left, so he had to create a spy network like Jiraiya to find out what has been going on since he left. He had just sent his blood clones all over the elemental nations to create his spy network. These clones were his latest and greatest creations so far. Using seals he created them with his blood and chakra. The difference between these clones and shadow clones was that they could only be killed by a fatal injury, and they had minds of their own and were well versed in any areas from medicine to cooking, so it would be easy to infiltrate anywhere as a spy. The seal also changed their blood so they couldn't be linked to each other if they were ever found out. The best part about it was, like a shadow clone, whatever memory they gained he could too, but using the seal, he only got the memories and information he wanted. He could find out what was going on around the elemental nations within an hour. He had just found a place to eat since it was only a bar that could open this late at night and was currently drinking sake while thinking about where he could find a hotel to stay for the night when he was interrupted from his thoughts. "Excuse me, is this seat taken?" A feminine voice asked him as Naruto looked up and was surprised to see a very beautiful woman who stood at 5'8" and wore a blue kimono that had white flowers. She had light aqua blue hair that looked like it was mixed with a little green with emerald eyes, a heart-shaped face, and hergless figure and chest size that was a C bordering D cup. "No, there is no one seating there," Naruto answered. "Thank you," she said as she took her seat. As Naruto looked around and noticed over half the guys in the bar were looking at her with lust in their eyes, and the ones who weren't were flirting with waitresses or some other women in the bar. "Looks like you have a lot of admirers," Naruto said with a small smirk on his lips. "It looks like I do, but most men are perverts anyway," the woman said with a sly smile on her face. "Then why did you sit next to me? I hope you are not trying to use me as some sort of protector against them, are you?" Naruto asked with a small pout on his face. This had her giggling. "Of course not, I could tell that you were not a pervert just by looking at you," she said with a small smirk. "That must be quite the talent you have," Naruto added. "Of course it's part of a woman's intuition," she said with a smile. Naruto and the young woman chatted about everything. He found out her name was Tamao Ichinis, who was a business trader from Water Country and owned businesses in different parts of the elemental nations, which made her pretty wealthy for someone her age. It seemed both her parents were also rich traders, and after they had passed away she inherited their business and was a successful woman. Naruto and Tamao talked for about 3 hours when they found out the bar was about to close. He was going to bid her farewell and find a hotel to stay when he saw she was having trouble standing up. It was obvious she had too much to drink and couldn't walk straight, so Naruto offered to take her back to her place, which she accepted. They had just walked out of the bar when they found themselves surrounded by a couple of thugs. Naruto could only sigh as he saw that Tamao was a little frightened. "Well, look what we have here, boys," one of the thugs exclaimed. "What a babe, she's obviously too much for you, brat. Why don't you beat it before we hurt you?" Another one said in a cocky voice. "Then drop all your valuables while you are at it if you know what's good for you," another exclaimed. Deciding to get this over with it, he made a couple of shadow clones and had them deal with the thugs while he and Tamao left. "Thank you for escorting me, Naruto-kun," Tamao said. Naruto grinned as he scratched the back of his head. It was nothing really, I was just doing the right thing." Konoha Tsunade could only sigh as she got a report from Jiraiya stating that he had found nothing about Naruto. Ever since Naruto left she had wanted Jiraiya to keep an eye on him so he would not get into any trouble, but the problem was the kid disappeared off the face of the earth. The pervert spy network could not find him anywhere. At first she was worried that Akatsuki had got to him, but Jiraiya had informed her that they were also looking for him as well, which meant they hadn't gotten to him. She was then afraid that something might have happened to him, but according to the toads he was fine since his name hadn't been taken off the scroll, yet the toads had tried reverse summon, but something had been blocking them from summoning him. Where had he disappeared to? Konoha had changed a little since Naruto was banished. Jiraiya had put a seal on Sasuke as soon as the kid had woken up. It was kind of like the caged bird seal, except it was automatic. Should the brat leave the village without permission, the seal would automatically activate, killing him instantly. Sakura and the rest of the Chunins that had been in the same year as Naruto were a little saddened about what happened to him, but had gotten over it after, and things had returned to normal for them. Kakashi and Jiraiya were a different story. They both felt like they had failed Minato, especially Jiraiya since he was the boy's godfather, and he never bothered to take care of the child. Now he spent most of his time outside the village looking for him through his spy network, while Kakashi just stood on at the memorial ground a lot more than he used to. Konoha had suffered the worst when villages like Snow Country and Wave Country heard about his banishment. They had originally wanted to cut ties with Konoha, but as much as they hated to admit, a lot of their revenue from trades came from Konoha, since out of all the 5 hidden villages, Konoha had the biggest population by far. They did the next best thing and raised their prices on everything that they imported and exported to Konoha. Suna was another one that had nearly backed out of the alliance because of Gaara, who was now the Kazekage. He had initially wanted to break their alliance, but that would mean that his village would have no allies, and if a war broke out they were on their own, so he kept the alliance, but their relationship had been strained until he got captured by Akatsuki. She had to send Kakashi, Guy, Kurenai and Asuma's team to retrieve him from Akatsuki. From the reports, by the time they got there they had already extracted the Bijuu from him, but luckily one of the elders had used a forbidden medical jutsu to bring him back to life at the cost of her own soul. Their alliance still wasn't that strong, but it was still better than it was before. Tsunade could only sigh as she looked at Konoha from the Hokage Tower and hoped that they found Naruto before Akatsuki did. Naruto's skill level: Ninjutsu. Elite Jounin mid-cage level. The Jutsu. Cage level. Ninjutsu. Low Jounin, he can only dispel Genjutsus, he can't make them because of his chakra levels. Fuinjutsu. Master, between Jiraiya and his father's level. Genjutsu. Master. Alright, here's chapter 4. It took me a while because of my midterms, and I did not have the time to update my stories. He could only sigh as he sat in a ramen shop eating miso ramen with sake. Naruto was currently thinking about everything he had learned from his intel. It seemed that the blood clones he created had actually worked, and he now had eyes and ears in every major village, and even some minor villages in the elemental nations. He had just gotten the first report a couple of days ago, and it did not look good. A lot had happened since he stepped into the portal 4 years ago. It seemed that Akatsuki had been busy before he came back. They had gotten 4 out of the 9 Jinchuriki. The only ones remaining now were the Nibi, Sanbi, Rikubi, Hachibi and the Kyuubi. He had his intel search all the remaining Jinchuriki. It seemed Kumo had the Nibi and Hachibi Jinchuriki, while the Sanbi was somewhere in oceans of water country since its Jinchuriki was dead and the Rikubi Jinchuriki had already deserted his village. He also had reports on the status of the 5 hidden villages. Konoha had already recovered from the Sound and Suna invasion 4 years ago, but it seemed that after he had left the alliance they had with some of the other villages had taken a hit. Most of them had placed huge taxes on their trades with Konoha. He also found out that each of the rookie 9 had actually become Chunin now. Sasuke and Neji had even been promoted to Jounin. His former teammate Sasuke and Sakura were still there, but he had been replaced by some guy named Sakura, along with Ino were Mednins and studied under the Hokage and Shizune. Sasuke had a seal placed on him and was usually trained by Kakashi. He also found out that his godfather had been searching for him, not that the sage would ever find him. Suna had also recovered from the attack, and Gaara had even been made Kazekage, but was captured by the Akatsuki. Luckily he was recovered by the rescue squads, but the Bijuu had already been taken. This brought a smile to Naruto's face. It looked like Gaara's life had gotten much better since he last saw him. He knew he would have to visit him sometime. Kiri had ended their civil war, and the bloodline side had won the battle, thanks to their leader, a woman named Mei Terumi, who actually had 2 Keke Genkai. She was now the Mizukage. It seemed like she was also looking for the Sanbi and the Rikubi Jinchuriki. Kumo was still as strong as ever, and their kage was Yatsuki was actually the elder brother of the Hachibi Jinchuriki called Killer Bee. From what he had learned, Kumo ninjas, including their kage, were really arrogant. Iwa had not changed much over the years. They still had the Sandai Minoki of the twin scales as their Tsuchikage, but they had also lost their Jinchuriki. But it seemed like the man himself did not seem to care about the Jinchuriki, and according to rumors he had actually hired Akatsuki before. He could only sigh as he thought of everything that had happened. Since he left, one thing was for sure: he was not ready to take on the likes of Akatsuki. Yet after seeing his father's memory and the battle with Madara, he knew that without a teleportation jutsu like the Hiraishin, he wouldn't stand much chance against Madara Uchiha. He still could not find anything on the other members of the Akatsuki apart from Sasori, who was already deceased, Itachi Uchiha and Hashige Kisame. He knew if he was going to defeat Akatsuki he needed allies, but not from the hidden villages. He would need outside help, but he would figure that out later. He paid for his meal and left the bar. He still had on the same outfit, except this time he kept his face completely hidden. He knew if he walked around in the open, it was only a matter of time before Jiraiya or Akatsuki found him. Naruto was now walking to the waterfall that laid his first base. He knew that his clones had already finished constructing it because one of the clones had dispelled. But even though he was approaching his first hideout, his mind was somewhere else. He had formulated a plan during his 3 years training in the scroll dimension, and he was currently fulfilling the first phase of the plan. His plan has 4 phases. The first phase of the plan is to create bases in every country that has a strategic and economic advantage. The second phase of the plan is to gather shinobis with specific specialties that are willing to follow a person like him. The third phase and fourth phase of the plan are still incomplete. He was almost there when he felt huge chakra levels coming from the northeast of where he was, which was the border of Lightning Country. Naturally he wouldn't have bothered since it was the border of a major country. It could have been patrols catching a missing nin or a spy, but that was not what caught his attention. It was the type of chakra that was being used. It almost felt like the Kyuubi's chakra. Naruto's eyes widened momentarily and knew that it was probably a Jinchuriki ran to where the battle was taking place. She couldn't believe it. She was defeated, her Jinchuriki of the Nibi no Nekomata, and one of the most talented Kunoichi and Kumo defeated by this two freaks. She had been fighting against this two for the last 2 hours, and all of her attacks that were enhanced by the Nibi's chakra were useless against this two. Now after 2 hours of fighting these two freaks she was now out of chakra, barely conscious, and what's worse is that the power of the Nibi was sealed by that Kakuzu guy. Also the two were very hard to kill. Both of them had different fighting styles, the person known as Kakuzu was an ninjutsu expert. He was able to combine multiple elemental jutsus into just one powerful attack, and that psychopath known as Haiden is very sufficient with his freaking side and enough to land some hits. Both of them were so different yet they have one thing in common, they are both immortals. But the scariest things about this two are their teamwork. They may hate each other, but when they team up they are almost impossible to beat. That was one heck of fight. Kakuzu said with a wicked smirk in his face. But sadly for you I'm the one that you had to fight. Hey Kakuzu team, don't take all the fucking credit here. I was the one who had to fucking fight her in close range. I almost got fucking burned, Haiden shouted with irritation in his voice towards his partner. Shut your freaking mouth. I was the one that hit her with the finishing blow, so I was the one who technically defeated her. Kakuzu said in a cocky voice. You are really getting in my last nerves. I suggest you shut the hell up or I will make you a sacrifice for Jashin-sama. Haiden said in a deadly voice. Hey, you wouldn't even lay a finger on me. Kakuzu said while he narrows his eyes on his partner. Ujido was now helpless and hopeless. She just closed her eyes and screamed as she felt as if she had been stabbed in the stomach. Right after the pain died down, she heard a sound of explosion coming from the wall on her right side as she blacked out from the pain and blood loss. The only thing she saw was a man with a mask and cloak before she succumbed to darkness. The two of them looked at the entrance where the explosion happened, waiting if someone were to come out. In a matter of seconds a blur come out of the explosion running towards Ujido. Haiden, who was still in the middle of his sacrifice and was startled by the explosion and didn't have time to block the kick of the strange blur, the kick sent him flying towards the side of his partner. Haiden, who quickly recovered from the kick, glared at the one who interrupted his ritual. Both Haiden and Kakuzu stared at the man that was at the side of the Jinchuriki that they were supposed to capture. Who the fuck are you? Haiden shouted at the stranger. Naruto on the other hand wasn't paying attention to any of them. He was busy analyzing the battlefield that the three fought on. He was trying to determine what kind of damage their jutsu could do basing on the battlefield. Let's see, this please is totally trash. There are a lot of burn marks, there are some slice marks in the ground, and there are some scattered water. So I'm guessing burn marks either represents fire and lightning based jutsu, the scattered water represents water based jutsu, and the slice marks on the ground represents a weapon of some sort being used, probably that side of that silver haired guy that I just kicked. Naruto then decided to answer the man's question. My name is Uzumaki Naruto, not that it will matter, since it will be the last name that both of you will ever hear. Kakuzu hearing that name could only think of one thing: why does that name sound familiar? Haiden on the other hand was irritated because he was being ignored by the guy who placed a hard kick on his jaw. Naruto, I am going to enjoy cleaving the life out of you. Haiden said as he prepared his scythe, then charged at Naruto. Haiden, not yet you idiot. Kakuzu tried to warn his partner, but to no avail. Haiden charged at Naruto with incredible speed. He swung his scythe downwards expecting to cleave Naruto in half, but what happened next was unexpected. Naruto, seeing the scythe descending on him, quickly grabbed his sword and easily blocked Haiden's scythe. He then charged his sword with wind chakra, which made the sword glow and also made it sharper, in which Naruto swung down hard on Haiden's right shoulder. The Akatsuki member could only scream in pain as he jumped back next to his partner, while Naruto made a couple of shadow clones and had them guard Ujido. Haiden, you fool, think before you attack. Kakuzu said to his partner as prepare for battle. Shut it Kakuzu, that was a fucking lucky shot. It will not happen again. Haiden told his partner while holding his wounded shoulder. Lucky don't worry, the next shot that I'll make, I'll guarantee you it will cleave your entire shoulder off. Naruto said with a cold voice. Why you fucking? Haiden was about to charge again, but was stopped by Kakuzu. The fuck with it Kakuzu, Haiden yelled at his partner. Wait Haiden, Kakuzu leveled his partner with a glare. Haiden, seeing the glare of his partner, grudgingly stood back and waited for his partner to give the signal to attack. You Kakuzu, pointing at Naruto. Why are you helping her? I know you are not a Kumo shinobi, and do you know what she is? Yes, I know who she is. Naruto simply stated. No you don't. If you know what she truly is. Kakuzu was quickly cut off by a tremendous killing intent that was focused on him. I know that she is a Jinchuriki, and practically that's the reason why I'm helping. Naruto stated. Why the hell do you want? Kakuzu was again interrupted by Naruto. If I don't help my own kind, then who will help people like us? Naruto told Kakuzu. The two of them quickly deciphered what he said and then they went wide-eyed in shock. Kakuzu now remembered who he was. He was the Jinchuriki that had disappeared of the face of the planet. That is why your name is familiar. Kakuzu said out loud. Hey Kakuzu, do you know that Gaki? Hayden asked his partner. Yes, I know who he is. So you finally show yourself to us. Finally, Leader Sama has been searching for you for quite some time now. Kakuzu said as he quickly went on a battle stance. I see you know who I am now, huh? Good, I have been itching for a good fight. Naruto said as he went on his own fighting stance. Hey Kakuzu, who exactly is the Gaki? Hayden asked again, clearly irritated. He is the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune. Kakuzu told his partner. You mean the Jinchuriki that Leader Sama was bitching about all the time? Kakuzu nodded. Perfect, I am going to enjoy this. Hayden then went to his battle stance. I hope both of you are ready for a one-way ticket to hell. Boy, do you think you can beat us both by yourself? Hayden smirked at Naruto. You are way too young to even be fighting me. Kakuzu said as he removes his cloak to show 4 masks from his back. The 4 masks suddenly broke free from his back, which in turn created different entities, but one of the masks suddenly dissolves to the ground. Damn that bitch, she had destroyed my water heart, no matter, I'll just replace it later. Great, I'll already have to deal with 2 ugly guys, but one of them actually summons 3 uglier creatures. This will be interesting. Naruto stated with a bored tone. Okay punk, you are beginning to really get on my fucking last nerves. Hayden growled as he charged. Kakuzu, this Gaki is mine, don't you dare interfere. You really are an idiot. Naruto closed his eyes. He then channeled his chakra to his body. The chakra was so large that it was visible to the naked eye. Shit, that brat's chakra capacity is at the level of the Nibi. Let's just hope that he doesn't have the skills to back that up. Kakuzu observed. I hope Hayden knows what he's doing. Wait a minute, this is Hayden we're talking about, he never knows what he's doing. Oh well, I just hope that he manages to fight this kid long enough for me to see his abilities. Hayden on the other hand was so busy thinking on how to cleave his opponent to pieces to notice or feel the chakra that he was emitting. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 Naruto then opened his eyes. 0 The chakra that he was channeling suddenly went back to his body. He then charged at Hayden with blinding speed. Hayden was startled because of the speed that Naruto showed. What? How the hell could he move that fast while holding a large weapon? Hayden wondered. Hayden suddenly felt pain in his gut, looking at the cause his eyes widened when he saw Naruto's knee to his gut. You know, if you even have a single brain cell in that head of yours, I suggest you use it, because if you don't I may get bored and end this real quick. Naruto then deliver a kick to the jaw, sending Hayden flying upwards. Naruto then eyed Kakuzu in the corner. He really is the brains of this partnership, good, I may just enjoy this fight. He then jumped upwards and delivered an axe kick to the head of Hayden, smashing Hayden's face to the ground. Shit, the kid is fast. Kakuzu thought as he observed how easily he surpassed Hayden. He then disappeared from his sight. Shit. Naruto then appeared in front of Kakuzu, and the both of them began to exchange blows. Kakuzu tried to hit Naruto with his fist-enhanced Earth chakra, but Naruto was able to dodge and block them because of his superior speed. Naruto, on the other hand, was doing the first kata of his dance of the elemental dragons, the dance of the crystal wind. He tried to deliver cutting blows to Kakuzu, but because of his experience, he was able to dodge the lethal blows that he tried to deliver. Also because of his experience, he was forced to use the dance of the Crimson Ocean to block the attacks that was close and connecting. After 5 minutes of Taijutsu battle, Naruto then made some distance away from Kakuzu. You are quite good, you know that. Kakuzu commented. Hey, how old are you? You seem way too experienced to be dodging my high-speed attacks. Naruto asked. So you noticed, huh? Kakuzu said in a smug voice. You know, you kinda remind me of the very first Konoha shinobi that I ever fought, the Shadame Hokage. Naruto's eyes widened and shocked and said. You fought the Shadame? Yeah kid, when I was still loyal to my village about 70 years ago. Kakuzu stated. I see, looks like you're not just the brains of this partnership, but you're also the most competent. Naruto then jumped a couple of feet away from Kakuzu. I think your partner is already awake. I suggest both of you think of a plan, because I am going to turn it up a notch. Naruto, noticing that Hayden was starting to stand up. Damn you, that kick actually hurt like hell. Hayden grumbled while rubbing the back of his head. Hayden, get your worthless ass here right now. Kakuzu ordered. Why the fuck should I? Hayden retorted, but understand when he saw the eyes of his partner. He quickly went to his partner's side. Okay, what the fuck do you want to tell me, Kakuzu? Hayden asked. Kakuzu was about to answer but was quickly interrupted by Naruto. You know, you should really listen to your partner more often, you know that. Naruto referring to Hayden. Why you? Hayden was about to retort but was quickly stopped by his partner. He grabbed a fistful of Hayden's hair. Hayden, stop your recklessness this instance, we're both going to die if you charge like that without a plan. Hayden scowled. You think he can kill us, huh, Kakuzu? Kakuzu glared at his partner, trying to send a message to him. Hayden, seeing that glare, the glare that Kakuzu only used when he was sure that the opponent could kill both of them at the same time, seeing that glare he sighed and said, what's the plan then? Hiden, listen and listen well. When I was fighting him in close range, I saw two things that may both be dangerous for both us. Kakuzu whispered. What two things? Hiden asked in a curious voice. I saw two restriction seals, a chakra seal and a gravity seal. Kakuzu whispered calmly. What, you mean? Hiden said in a fearful voice. Yeah, the plan is to kill him before he unleashes his full power, or else we're both dead even in our standards. Kakuzu said with a voice of caution. I finally found someone that could kill me. Hiden said rather excitedly. Yeah, me too, Hiden, me too, but the thing that worries me the most is that sword of his, Kakuzu thought as he looks at the damage his sword created. I hope both of you are ready. Naruto told the duo as stood in a fighting style with his sword. Because now both of you are going to. He then disappeared from their sight. What the hell, both Kakuzu and Hiden thought. He suddenly appeared in the middle of Kakuzu and Hiden. Shit was the last thing both of them thought before Naruto started his assault. Both of them back-paddled away from Naruto, but they were too late, they were on his field of reach. Naruto swung his sword towards Hiden. Hiden barely blocked with his scythe, but even with the blocked Hiden was still sent flying towards the wall. Naruto, using the momentum he achieved during the thrust, did a 360-degree spin and attempted to cleave Kakuzu in half. Kakuzu, on the other hand, after noticing that Naruto was right beside him, already started to jump immediately, but because the sword was wind-enhanced, he still suffered a light cut in his chest. Just as I thought, he is a wind user. Kakuzu thought as he tried to create some distance. Actually, I'm a wind master. Naruto told Kakuzu from behind as if he could read Kakuzu's mind. Kakuzu's eyes widened when he saw Naruto from behind. Naruto then channeled wind chakra to his free hand to form a sword. Wind release. Blade of wind. He then struck Kakuzu with the blade of wind on his left hand, completely cutting Kakuzu's entire left shoulder. Kakuzu grunted in pain as some blood from his left shoulder poured out. Naruto then noticed that Hiden was starting to recover. He smirked and without any hand seals, he performed his oldest jutsu. Shadow Clone Jutsu. He then created two clones. Deal with him, Naruto, send a mental order to his clones. The clones then began to battle with Kakuzu as the original charged at Hiden. Hiden was quickly recovering from the heavy blow that was given to him by Naruto until he felt that someone was fast approaching. He then noticed that his opponent was fast approaching him. He prepared his scythe and charged as well. They both trade blows with their respective weapons. Friction were flying everywhere as the two clashes their respective weapons. Hiden was finding it difficult to fight Naruto in an equal footing using his scythe. His scythe was a good weapon, but it was very heavy, it hinders his true speed, while his opponent on the other hand is already faster than him when using his true speed, but the weapon he was using was practically weighs nothing, because he keeps doing some strange dance that was slowly shredding him. Naruto was also analyzing his opponent while fighting him. This guy is weird, it's like he has no fighting style at all. Even the way he swings that scythe, there's no real form, it's like he's just swinging away and hoping to hit me. But the thing is that scythe can only injure a ninja, much less a Jinchuriki at best, which means that scythe is not meant to kill, but do something else that ensures his victory, which means I have to separate him from the scythe and destroy it. He then jumped a couple of feet away from Hiden and did hand seals so fast it surprised both Akatsuki ninjas. Then a black ball made from wind appeared in his right hand. Wind release. Shadow ball. He then jumped a couple of feet and then threw the shadow ball directly to the chest of Hiden, blowing him away. It's kinda fun making that guy fly, it's very entertaining, but I have another problem to worry about. He then felt his last shadow clone being destroyed. Looks like the last one had already bite the dust. He shifted his eyes to Kakuzu as he reattaches his left shoulder. Naruto mentally sighed, this is going to be an entertaining fight. Kakuzu, after reattaching his arm, glared at Naruto. The kid was good, he could admit that, and he realized the kid's plan on fighting him and his partner pity. In a couple of years the kid will have fine bounty in your head someday, but sadly for you, I'm not going to let you live. Kakuzu then used his lightning mask to launch an attack. Lightning release. False darkness. A spear of lightning then came out of the mouth of the mask that was approaching Naruto in high speed. Naruto smirked behind his mask. He then lifts his sword. Wind release. Wind cutter. Naruto then swung his sword sideward, creating a large slicing wind. Both jutsu clash, but the wind jutsu easily overpowered the lightning jutsu and it was headed towards Kakuzu. Kakuzu jumped in the air and by using his fire and wind mask, he launched a combine attack. Fire release. Fire dragon flame missile. Wind release. Pressure damage. The combination of the two elements created an intensive fire blast that had melted the ground underneath the attack. It was headed towards Naruto in high speed. Shit, if I get hit by that the damage will be overwhelming. Luckily he's not the only one that knows how to mix elements. Naruto then created a shadow clone. The shadow clone then began to make some seals. Water release. Tearing torrent. Wind release. Wind barrier jutsu. The combination of the two jutsu created a large quantity of water vapor. It then created a strong wind whirls inside the highly concentrated mist, turning it into a solid barrier. It was able to successfully block Kakuzu's wind and fire combination and also creating mist around the vicinity. Naruto again smirked. He made a single seal. Hidden mist jutsu. Naruto then created a very thick mist around the entire area, blocking the sight of his opponents. Man, those two are really entertaining, but sadly I have to end this or else it will be 3-on-1. Naruto then began to formulate a plan. Damn. That kid managed to block one of my most powerful attacks. He wasn't even using his tenant's power and he could easily match me and Hayden at the same time. I have no choice, I need to go to my long range mode. Once he uses his sword against me I'll be dead for sure. Kakuzu then called his 4 masks. The 4 masks then fuses with his body, enveloping half of his body with black threads. Once I get my hands on that kid, I will make sure that no one will recognize him. Hayden thought has recovered from that strange attack. Let's see if I compare this to, Hayden is the one who is hardest to kill, but Kakuzu on the other is the most skill. Looks like I have to end this with one hit. Naruto, then think of a jutsu that could end both of them in one hit, then it hit him. Naruto then made some one-handed seals. Water release. Predator of the mist. Naruto then created 4 mist fox. The foxes were 6 foot with red eyes. Okay guys, go and find our targets while I prepare. The foxes then disappeared from the mist. Good, Naruto then spun his sword. The foxes that Naruto created were not meant for an attack, they were meant for scouting areas that was hard to see in the human eye. They were hard to detect and once they saw the opponent they quickly dispelled and delivered the information to the user. The 4 foxes then spotted their master's prey. Kakuzu was waiting for Naruto to attack in the corner of the sewer, while Hayden on the other hand was recklessly swinging his scythe, hoping to cut something. After the foxes spotted the prey they quickly disperse, sending the information to their creator. After receiving the information on where Kakuzu is, he smiled because it was actually fun to fight people who uses their brains, but when he received the information on where Hayden was located, he almost stumbled to his feet. Either I hit that guy too hard and it damaged his brain, or the guy doesn't have a brain at all, oh well. Naruto then added speed in spinning his sword. As Naruto spun his sword, it was slowly creating a tornado. The tornado was slowly sucking the mist, in a matter of seconds the mist was already gone. Kakuzu and Hayden then spotted Naruto creep. Hey zombie brothers, try this on for size. Wind release. Waltz of the tornado. Naruto then swung his sword in a sideward arc, releasing the tornado from the sword. The tornado then split into 8 individual tornadoes, and then each tornadoes paired up with the nearest tornado being connected by a chakra thread resembling a bolas. Bolas are a throwing weapon designed to capture animals. The 4 pair of tornadoes then began to rapidly rotate as it charged towards Naruto's targets. 2 pairs then charge on Kakuzu, while the 2 other pairs then charged at Hayden. What the fuck, what kind of jutsu is that? Dodging that kind of jutsu will be fatal. I hope I could cancel both of those dancing tornadoes. Kakuzu then prepare all his masks for his ultimate elemental combination. Fire release. Intelligent hard work. Wind release. Pressure damage. Lightning release. False darkness. Earth release. Earth mausoleum dumpling. Kakuzu then threw 4 elemental attacks at the dancing tornadoes, effectively cancelling them, but the aftermath was disastrous. The aftermath of the clash was an explosion of wind, earth, and fire all over the area, destroying half the central sewer and also completely blowing of the rooftop. Kakuzu was also blown away. Hayden on the other hand wasn't lucky as his partner. Noticing the level of the 2 dancing tornadoes, he decided to do the only attacking jutsu in his arsenal. He began to rapidly spin his scythe with the use of the long cable. His scythe then glowed bright crimson. He then threw his scythe towards one of the dancing tornadoes. Triple-bladed, blood dance. The scythe was rotating so fast that it forms a crimson disc. It then clashed with one of the dancing tornadoes. The rotation of the scythe was trying to reverse the rotation of the tornado, but because the high-speed rotation of both the tornado combines, the scythe was shredded in the middle of the dancing tornado, but also the first dancing tornado was cancelled. Fuck my scythe. How could that jutsu destroy my scythe? My scythe is made out of the strongest materials, nothing in the past could even scratch it, but this kid, with just one jutsu, has managed to shred a good portion of it. What kind? He was stopped on his train of thoughts when he felt a searing wind. He shifted and his eyes widened in shocked. The last pair of dancing tornadoes was approaching towards him. Shit, it was so close to him that it didn't give him time to dodge. The thread that connected the tornado entangles Hayden's entire body. The 2 tornadoes then began circling around Hayden. In a matter of seconds the 2 tornadoes clash with each other, with Hayden being in the middle. The clash resulted in an explosion of wind that quickly shredded the person who was entangled by the thread, in this case Hayden. Hayden screamed in pain as the wind was shredding his entire body. After 15 seconds the wind suddenly stops. Naruto surveyed the battleground as he looked around. His clones had already got Yujito to a safe location outside. He then looked at the two members of Akatsuki. So that's it, those masks that he has don't only give him an extra life, they also give him an extra element, which explains how he is able to use all 5 elements. He then saw Haiden standing and was inwardly shocked. What the fuck is that Haiden guy made of? He just took an S-rank jutsu and is still standing. Is he also some kind of immortal? No matter, his scythe is gone. I have to finish him off quickly before the other guy recovers. Fuck. Haiden mentally screamed, if there was ever the time to thank Jashin-sama, this will be the time. If I am not immortal, that jutsu would have killed me for sure. Haiden then began to stand up, stumbling and slipping because of the bloody loss during the and after the jutsu. Now that he was back to his feet, he tried to reach his damaged side. That was a big mistake. The first step Haiden made, he was quickly impaled by Naruto's sword through his stomach. Fuck off, you can't kill me, cough, cough, Jashin-sama made me immortal. Haiden said while coughing blood. This froze Naruto immediately. No wonder the son of a bitch is so hard to kill, he's a fucking Jashinist. No wonder the girl lost to these guys. He had read about Jashinism when he was training in his master's library. They were an old cult that believed in a god named Jashin. They would get immortality in exchange. They had to sacrifice the life of the opponents they fought to the god. They usually won by talking the opponent's blood and using it to make self-induced injuries on their opponents without touching them. So that's what the scythe was for. Thank Kami I didn't let him touch me with that scythe, but I have to kill him, now he's too dangerous. I have a news flash for you. Naruto told Haiden as he grabbed his face with his right hand while his left hand holds his sword. In this world there is no such thing as immortal. We are all going to die one day, but sadly for you today you will die. Naruto then began to channel wind chakra to his right palm. The wind chakra then began to create a spiral drill. Naruto then removed his sword and raised the body of Haiden and then shifted his body towards one of the seal exits. Wind release. Drill cannon. Naruto's right hand then unleashes a concentrated wind blast in the shape of a giant spiral drill. The spiral drill was rapidly rotating, automatically destroying Haiden's body upon release. The spiral drill kept on going, destroying everything in its path. It then drills through one of the seal exits, completely destroying the exit and anything that was behind it. After a couple of seconds the jutsu died down, showing the destruction that the jutsu caused. Haiden's body was completely destroyed, with no traces of his body could be seen, not even a single drop of blood. Also the landscape that was behind Haiden was completely leveled, only showing a drilled up pathway. He then walked up and found the scythe that the dead Akatsuki member used, and he then sealed it in a scroll. After he was done, he sensed a new presence on the wall. As he looked at the wall he saw something that looked like a huge plant that blended in with the wall. I know Akatsuki recruits freaks, but I never thought that they would recruit a freaking plant. Naruto said loud enough to catch the attention of the plant. The plant turned around and glared at Naruto. The 9-tailed Jinchuriki has finally appeared. Naruto then looked at the giant plant. He seemed to resemble a giant Venus flytrap, and his face seemed to be divided by two. One half of his face is black, while the other half is white. Leader Sama will be pleased that he has finally appeared, said the white half of the face with a robotic voice. Yes, Leader Sama will be pleased. Let us capture him, said the black half of the face with a dark voice. No, we must not, he managed to kill Haiden, and he was immortal. The white half argued with the black half. Are you forgetting that Haiden was also an idiot and arrogant? We are more powerful than him. We could take the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. The black half argued back. I know, but he seems to be holding back when he was fighting Kakuzu and Haiden. We could still take him. What about Itachi-san? He will be pissed off if we capture his target. Then he could have our target. He is annoying and irritating. I don't want to listen to his worthless and pathetic raps and rhyming. I like his rhyming, it is good. Naruto on the other watched as the plant-like man quarrel with himself. Is that guy fighting with himself? Akatsuki really knows how to recruit weird people. Naruto thought as he developed a massive sweat drop because that guy was screaming at himself. We must capture him now, shouted the black half to his other half. No, we must not, shouted the white half to his other half as well. Would you shut it, Zetsu? Kakuzu growled, rubbing the back of his head. Kakuzu, you're finally awake. Too bad you have been knocked out, you missed one hell of a show. Both the faces of Zetsu greeted him. Yeah, whatever. Where the hell is Haiden? Kakuzu wondered. Haiden has joined his god in hell. About time if you ask me. I'm getting irritated of all the Jashin-sama he has been yelling all the time, Zetsu said. Wait a minute. That brat had managed to kill Haiden? Kakuzu asked in shocked. Yeah, shocking isn't it? He had managed to destroy Haiden's body completely. There is no trace of him anymore. That's a good thing, we don't have to clean anything up, Zetsu answered. Well, I'll be damned, the kid manages to do something that I have been trying for months now. Kakuzu groaned. He then looked at one of his masks. Damn that Gaki, he manages to destroy one of my hearts. Hey fools, are you forgetting about me? Naruto said in an annoyed voice. No worries boy, we can't afford to forget Gaki, this will be fun. Zetsu said as he prepares to engage Naruto. Wait Zetsu, let's retreat for now. Kakuzu said, trying to escape. Why should we? This is our chance to capture the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Zetsu Blackside said. Kakuzu is right, we must retreat for now and report this development to Leader Sama. The Gaki has grown in power and I doubt that even we could stand a chance against him. Zetsu Whiteside said to his black side. But we are the black side of Zetsu then noticed that Naruto was slowly leaving. Hey Gaki, where are you going? Naruto then unleashes a strong wave of killing intent towards the two Akatsuki members. Look here you fool, because of you, Naruto pointing at Zetsu, my appetite for a fight has been ruined. I am going to let both of you live for today, but heed my words, if I ever come across to anyone in your worthless organization I will end them. Naruto said with venom dripping in his voice. The truth was he was actually bluffing. After fighting the two of them he was now low on chakra. If he was going to fight them, he would have to use the Kyuubi's chakra, and the truth was he hadn't started training in the Kyuubi's chakra since he gained the chakra from the Kyuubi. Naruto then walked up to where the rest of his clones were, dispelled them and carried a female Jinchuriki bridal style, and then looked back at Kakuzu and Zetsu. Consider yourselves warned, I'll let you live on a whim today, the next time you might not be so lucky. Naruto says as he disappears with a wind shunshin. Ah Kakuzu, did he just leave us just like that? Zetsu asked calmly. Yeah, I think he just did. Kakuzu answered dumbfounded. Chapter 5 Unknown Area. 8 powerful shinobis were meeting for the first time in a longer time. They were so powerful that if they combined their overall strength that they could wipe out everyone in their paths without any effort at all. The only thing that was stopping them is a very simple reason: they all hate each other's guts. They are the Akatsuki, the strongest organization that the elemental nations have ever seen and also the most dangerous. Is it time for us to dissect another one? Yeah. One of the shadow figures said. Could we hurry this up already? Our target has been rather hard to get. Another shadow figure said in an annoyed voice. Enough, shouted the shadow figure with ripple-like eyes. Kakuzu, where is Haiden and the Jinchuriki of the Nibi? Well Leader Sama, there seems to be a problem. Kakuzu said while sweating nervously. What's the problem Kakuzu? Is Haiden having an enjoyable time with the Nibi Jinchuriki, or is spreading all that Jashin crap? A shadow figure joke said while grinning like a shark. Yeah, he always has the tendency to spread all the shit around, yeah. A shadow figured snicker. Kakuzu, call Haiden immediately. We need to start the process. Their leader ordered. Leader Sama, well you see, Kakuzu was interrupted with another member. Just get your freaking partner already. I don't want to waste another moment here. I also have a target. A shadow figure said with a robotic voice. I wish I could, but you see Haiden as well is dead. Kakuzu stated in a nervous voice. An eerie silence prevailed when that news was said. Some members were gapping their mouths and others have their eyes widen. Wait, you're telling me that that immortal freak is dead? A shadow figure said as shark-like grin disappeared. Yeah, was the simple answer of Kakuzu. Kakuzu, their leader yelled at him, how many times must I warn you that do not kill your partners that were assigned to you? Leader Sama, I did not kill Haiden. We ran into a major problem when we were about to capture the Nibi Jinchuriki. Kakuzu said, trying to save his own skin. What kind of problem? Their leader said in a dangerous voice. The Kyuubi Jinchuriki kind of problem, Leader Sama Zetsu said, making his presence aware in the meeting. Silence again was felt among the group. All eyes were turned towards Kakuzu and Zetsu. Kakuzu, Zetsu, the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Their leader said in a curious voice. Yes Leader Sama, the kid managed to beat both Kakuzu and Haiden at the same time and also killed Haiden. I recorded their battle if you want to watch. I swear it was very entertaining. Zetsu said to their leader. Kakuzu now was sweating bullets while glaring daggers to Zetsu. He was a very prideful man and he didn't want to be reminded of his most recent defeat, nor does that defeat to be known in the entire organization. Show us then Zetsu. The leader ordered Zetsu. Zetsu then began to show the battle between Naruto and Kakuzu and Haiden. Half an hour later, did you see that Tadara senpai? He totally beat Haiden and Kakuzu senpai. He must be a good boy just like Tobi, because Tobi is a good boy. Shut up. Tadara said as he slapped the one known as Tobi at the back of the head. So the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi has become much powerful when he disappeared during the 3 years. Their leader said. Yeah, I'm getting excited to fight the kid. His sword skills are quite remarkable and the sword his wielding will be a fine trophy. A shadow figure said with a wide shark grin. Disum, do not underestimate him. His skills has grown so much that he was able to defeat both Kakuzu and Haiden at the same time and managed to kill Haiden with one blow. A shadow figure said in a bored tone. On Itachi, you could not say the kid is that strong, plus I think I can beat the kid when it comes to Kenjutsu. Kisum reassured his partner. Itachi, Kisum, now that the Kyuubi Jinchuriki has reappeared, both of you will capture him, and also if he is traveling with the Nibi Jinchuriki, capture her too. Their leader ordered as all the projections disappeared. A small village on the border of lightning country. As he sat on the rooftop of a building facing her hospital room, he began to think of his next movements. Now that Akatsuki knew he was back, which he was still cursing himself for being so stupid at telling them his name, now they had him on watch, he would have to be careful on his next moves. His current dilemma was the Kumo Jinchuriki Yujito. He had been tempted to go up to her and offer her a chance to join him in his quest to defeat Akatsuki, but the problem is he would have to convince her to join him by telling her he was a Jinchuriki just like her. That was an information he would have only told her if he was absolutely sure she was going to join him. It was one of the reasons he was happy that she was knocked out when he talked with the zombie brothers. His musings were brought short when he noticed 3 people enter the Jinchuriki's room, and by the looks of it, they seemed to be Kumo ninjas. The first one was a female with short blonde hair and icy blue eyes, but what stood out the most about her were her large breasts, which if he had to guess were TTs. The next person was a dark-skinned female with long red hair and black eyes, and the last ninja was a dark-skinned male with short white hair and had a lollipop in his mouth. Naruto, seeing that Yujito was in good hands, decided to leave before one of the ninjas saw him. Inside Yujito's room, Yujito was not in the best of moods right now as she thought of her battle against the 2 missing nins. She had always thought of herself as the strongest Kunoichi Kumo had to offer, and she knew that a big part of that was because of her Biju. Like her fellow Jinchuriki, Kurabi, she had full control of her Biju and was in good terms with it, which made it easier for her. She was proud to be a Jinchuriki, and unlike most containers, she saw being a demon container as a blessing rather than a curse. When she first heard of the organization known as Akatsuki a couple of years ago, she along with the rest of the shinobi and Kumo had merely scoffed and thought of them as a bunch of missing nins going way above their heads. Boy, were they wrong. Yujito. A voice said as she looked up and noticed it was Samui and her 2 teammates Amoy and Carrie. She didn't think that she had been that out of it. I guess Reikage-sama sent you guys, huh? Yujito said as she addressed them in a quiet voice. Yay, what happened? We heard you were ambushed and ended up in a hospital. Carrie asked in a surprised voice since Yujito was one of the strongest ninjas she knew apart from Reikage-sama and Kurabi-sama. It was Akatsuki, they had me beat. I still can't believe there are ninjas like that out there. It seemed like no matter what I threw at the 2, it didn't affect them. I don't know what happened after that, they had me beat, and the next thing I knew I woke up in the hospital. The doctor said a man with a mask brought me here. Yujito said as the other members in the room stiffened at the name of Akatsuki. Oh man, I wonder what will happen now. Reikage-sama will probably put every ninja out there in intense training program, which will make the other villages nervous, and then they put their ninjas on intense training program, which will then lead to a forced shinobi war, and all the villages will destroy each other, which will put an end to the shinobi era as we know it. The one known as Amoy said. Shut up and stop overthinking everything, you idiot. Carrie said in a pissed-off voice as the other 2 occupants in the room could only roll their eyes, since this was a regular occurrence among the 2. Yeah, whatever, flat chest. Amoy said in a bored tone as Carrie was about to attack, but was stopped by Samui. That's enough, you 2, now let's wait outside while Yujito gets dressed so we can go back to Kumo and report back to Reikage-sama. Samui said in an icy tone. 2 days later, outskirts of Nami no Kuni, in the forests of Fire Country leading to Wave Country, Naruto could feel the nostalgia hit him as he closed in on the site where his team had first encountered Zabuza and Haku on their first ever C-rank mission. He knew he would have to visit their graves to pay his respects, but that would be after he got what he came here for. After walking another hour, he finally arrived in Wave Country and couldn't help but be surprised that the bridge Tazuna had built those years ago ended up being named after him. He couldn't help but laugh at the irony of it all. For the first 13 years of his life, he did not know who his parents were and always wondered if they were alive or dead or if they abandoned him. Now he finds out that his first ever C-rank mission was a mission to his now destroyed homeland. He walked into the city and couldn't help but be amazed at how much the city had grown since he was last here. The streets were packed with people, both men and women, hanging around laughing, enjoying themselves. He still couldn't believe that it was the same city 4 years ago. It brought a smile to his face. Even if he died today, at least he had done something that saved lives. He also had to visit Tazuna and the rest of his family. He had now passed the city of Wave and deeper into the forests. He had seen a detective barrier made of seals, but it was one he had never seen before, while the one in Konoha was also a detection barrier that always had somebody maintaining it and monitoring it 24/7. But the seals on here were obviously old, but were still doing their job. One thing that Naruto wondered was how no one ever noticed it before. He stepped into the barrier and noticed his surroundings had changed while he was in a forest. Before he stepped into the barrier, after stepping in, he noticed he was now in front of a compound that reminded him of the Hyuga compound. As he was walking around, he noticed corpses on the floor, but that wasn't what caught his attention. The fact that there were old and new corpses, which meant that people had been here. He could only hope it was still there. As he stepped into the clan compound, he could see even more corpses, but then also ninja headbands that belonged to Iwa and Kumo, with corpses scattered all over the compound. He stepped inside and noticed the windows and doors were broken down the inside, looked like the house of a daimyo, even though it was almost destroyed, he could tell how beautiful the place looked before it was destroyed. As he walked further there were paintings on the ground, most of them were already destroyed, but the ones that went destroyed still held the pictures of various men and women who Naruto guessed had to be the nobles at the time, and the one thing they all had in common was their long red hair just like his mom had. He guessed it must have been an Uzumaki trait just like the Uchiha clan with their black hair. He walked into a room that must have been the private study as he shelves that were destroyed, books on the ground and more corpses on the ground that belonged to outsiders. They were probably killed by the defense mechanisms, and by the looks of the holes on the walls, I have to guess they were looking for it also, but probably never found it, and if the clan was as good in Fuinjutsu as mom said then it's probably not out in the open. Naruto thought to himself as he walked around looking for something. He noticed a table that was worse for wear, but still standing he could feel something pull him to it as he walked towards the table. He felt it getting stronger when he got to the table. He touched it and felt his chakra being drained as seals appeared on the table as he got his hands off the table. The seals started glowing as the table transformed into a small wooden key and pointed into a small wooden plank on the floor on the right-hand corner of the room. He went to where the key pointed and saw a small hole that opened up on the floor. He picked up the key and put it in the hole as the floor opened up and a hidden passage that went to the ground appeared. He started to descend down the stairs and saw a small candle as he lit it and went down the stairs. After reaching the end of the stairs, he saw a huge door that was locked with seals. He out his hand on the door and saw it was still locked. Probably a blood seal, he thought to himself as he bit his hand and wiped his blood on the door as it opened. He walked inside the room and saw over 1,000 scrolls, all sort of weapons from swords to Bisento, various pictures hanging on the walls. As he walked forward he saw various people who if Naruto had to guess were former leaders of the Uzushiogakure, but what caught his attention was a picture of a man with long red hair and a beard with a younger looking woman with red hair that was tied into buns and was standing next to the first and second Hokages Hashirama and Tobirama Senju. He walked to the front and saw a small scroll on the floor and opened it with a small seal. To whoever is reading this, you are probably one of the few Uzumaki survivors left in the world. Our clan may not have been as big as the Uchiha and Senju clans, but we were still powerful in our own right. We specialized in seals and possessed incredible longevity. Because of this we had many people trying to marry into the clan, but weren't allowed to, which led to our clan having many enemies with very few allies. Now the third shinobi war just started and Iwa and Kumo have started attacking us and Kiri is nowhere to be seen and it seems that Konoha has forsaken us, so I have decided to pack all the important things that belong to our clan and hide them down here so they won't fall into the hands of a non-Uzumaki. You are now our last living legacy and I live our most prized possessions to you. Sato Uzumaki. Naruto put the letter in his pocket and started going through the scrolls. He saw scrolls for jutsus, jinjutsu, taijutsu and even kinjutsu styles, but that was not what he wanted. He finally saw a scroll written in kanji for forbidden and opened it and smiled as he saw it was the one he was looking for. He then proceeded to seal all the possessions in the safe and take them. After he was done, he walked back upstairs and checked for anything else of importance. After making sure there was nothing left he walked back outside and walked out of the barrier and noticed he was back in the forest. He turned around and saw the buildings in the compound started tumbling as they all came down and the seals protecting them wore off. He decided to take his leave before anybody proceeded to investigate what happened. Kumo Reikage's office. Ujito and Samui's team had just finished their report to the Reikage as the man was sitting there thinking while lifting weights, which didn't seem to surprise the other occupants in the room. So you are saying you were saved by someone, but you couldn't find out who he was since you were knocked out? The man known as Ayutsuki said as he looked at Ujito. Yes, Reikage-sama. Ujito said as she looked in shame. She was supposed to be one of the strongest shinobi Kumo had to offer, and she lost to two nobodies. Sensing her distress, A spoke up anyways. It's alright, luckily one of our scouts found this at the site of your battle. He said as he held up a silver amulet. Ujito recognizing it opened her eyes in surprise. That's the amulets one of the Akatsuki members had. Yes, and now I know how you lost. You fought a ninja who practices Jashinism. Jashinism? The four shinobis in the room asked curiously. Yes, it was a cult that originated from the Hidden Springs village. Practically they had to worship him by sacrificing the blood of their enemies in exchange for immortality. The shinobis in the room were shocked that type of power existed. It's my fault this happened to you anyway. Konoha and Suna had already warned me about this Akatsuki, but I never took them seriously until now. As from now on you and B are going to have to stay within the village. In case those Akatsuki guys come back again, we will be ready for them. You are dismissed. As said in an authoritative voice as the four figures in the room nodded and left his office. As he sat in the restaurant eating breakfast, he couldn't help but think about his field trip to his clan compound yesterday and all the information he was able to acquire about his clan, even though his mom had briefly explained it. He couldn't help but be show more hatred towards Konoha. His clan had done more for that village than any other clan or family in the village. Heck, even the Uchiha that they praised so much, he wondered how they would all feel when they find out that one of the members of their prestigious clan was responsible for the Kyuubi attack. But personally, he didn't care about Konoha anymore. He was not going to go around wishing revenge on Konoha, but he sure as hell was not going to go back to that hellhole. Even if they offered him everything in the world, Konoha had shown that they were just as bad as every other ninja village. Just like the villagers, they put on a facade as the most honest and peace-loving hidden village in the elemental nations. Well, deep down they were just as greedy and selfish as the other nations. He finished his meal and paid the waitress as he walked on the streets of Wave Country and couldn't help but notice a couple of mist ninjas walking around, which got him thinking. It looks like they had an eye on the Uzumaki compound as well and are probably looking for the person that went in there. I better pay my visit to Tazuna and leave as soon as possible. Naruto thought to himself as he walked towards the house of the bridge builder. After asking around, he finally found Tazuna's new home, which was a beautiful 2-story house. As he went to the front door and knocked, the door opened and a familiar dark-haired woman stepped out. "Yes?" the woman asked as she looked outside and saw a person with a hooded figure. "Tsunami, it's been a while." "Excuse me, do I know you? I can't tell since you are covering your face," Tsunami said as she looked at the male confused, but she could tell that the man's voice sounded familiar but couldn't place where she heard it. "Oh, my bad, I forgot I still had my hoodie on," Naruto said as he removed his hoodie, and Tsunami looked at him and looked puzzled for a second before getting a good look at his face, and realization dawned on her. "Naruto?" Tsunami asked in a whisper. "In the flesh, it's been a long time, huh? You haven't even aged a bit," Naruto said with a smile before Tsunami launched at him and pulled him into a bone-crushing hug. "Come in and tell me where you've been this whole time," Tsunami said as she pushed Naruto into the house and brought him inside as he sat on a chair and she sat next to him. "So where's Inari and the old man?" "Them and Dad went to work on a construction job in Fang Country and they probably won't be back for a couple of weeks," Tsunami answered as Naruto was a little sad that he won't be able to see Inari and his grandpa, but got over it. He would have to visit them another time. "So Inari works with his grandpa now?" "Yes, him and Dad go on various construction jobs together." "Ah, I see, glad to know you are all doing fine." "Yeah, we are. What about you? Why didn't you come here after you left Konoha? You know we would have welcomed you with open arms," Tsunami asked him as he looked her. "Well, I could have done that, but there were certain circumstances that prohibited me from coming here," Naruto said as he did not want to go into the whole Akatsuki affair. "Oh, so how long are you going to be staying?" "I'll probably be leaving later today. I have some business to take care of." "Okay, but you'll have to spend the rest of the day here." Naruto nodded and soon time passed by and it was time for him to leave. They had talked about everything, their social lives to their love lives, in which Tsunami had said that she wasn't looking for anyone right now since she felt she was too old. Naruto had assured her that wasn't the case, even though she was only 30 and was still young enough to marry. Add to the fact that she looked way younger than her age made her to be was also a bonus for her. "So tell Inari and the old man I said hi and I might stop by again sometime," Naruto said to her as he hugged her. "Alright, just don't make sure it's another 4 years before we get to see you again," Tsunami said as Naruto smiled. "Don't worry, it won't be that long, and take care of yourself," Naruto said as he left her house using the Shunshin. Naruto could only sigh as he arrived back in his hideout. He had been pleased with how his trip had gone. He had gotten what he went for and spent some time with Tazuna's family, even though the old man and his grandson went there. Tsunami had urged him to stay for at least a night, but he knew he would be risking it with Akatsuki chasing his tail and decided against it. Konoha Hokage's office. Tsunade looked out the window as she had just received reports from Jiraiya about how close Akatsuki were to capturing Kumo's Jinchuriki, and had it not been an unknown person who saved her and even took out one of their members, Akatsuki would have another Biju in their hands. It made her worry about Naruto. Even though he had been banished, she had spent the last 4 years looking for any traces of the young man, but couldn't find any. At first she had thought maybe something had happened to him, but Jiraiya said that he talked to the toads and his name was still on the contract, which meant that he was alive, but wherever he was they couldn't contact him. A couple of minutes later Shizune came into the room with a paper. "Tsunade-sama, you might want to see this." Tsunade could only look at the paper in shock as she saw a bounty of an unknown man with Anbu mask and a cloak on. Name: Uzumaki Naruto. Alias: Kage Fujin. Age: 17. Status: banished from Konoha. Rank: S rank. Notables: ungodly affinity for wind jutsus, approach with caution. Bounty: 85 million Ryo. What if neglected Naruto Kage level after training trip harem? Thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part. Comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.